The rain was a viscous wall of sound as my Lolo bass killed ang itam. The old goat didn't make a single sound. It just collapsed into the mud, its ancient, yellow eyes that felt older than this very mountain staring straight at me through the torrential curtain of rain. My Lola Elena, my grandmother, crumpled onto the threshold of our small Nepa hut, sobbing. "Based, what have you done?" She shrieked, her voice thin against the storm. It had the eyes of a person. "My God, it is a sin." Lolo Based just wiped his long bolo knife on his trousers. His face was like hard mahogany wood, completely unreadable. "They are coming," he said, his voice deep and flat, a strange finality in his tone. "They cannot be left hungry." He started to drag the carcass, leaving a dark, ugly smear on the wet earth. He looked over his shoulder at me. "Maria," he commanded. "Inside. Help your Lola." I hurried inside. The air was suffocating, sticky with the smell of damp rain, melting candles, and now the thick, coppery temps of blood. Lola Elena was trembling by the fire pit, her hands shaking as she ladled water from a large earthen jar into the black cast iron pot that hung over the flames. Lolo Based entered, bringing the cold of the storm in with him. He dropped heavy, skinned chunks of goat meat into the pot. Water splashed, hissing against the hot iron. He looked at Lola, his gaze hard. "Just water, nothing else." Lola Elena stared at him, her eyes wide with disbelief and horror. No salt, no garlic. "Based, you are mad. No salt." Lolo interrupted, his voice as sharp as his knife. "No garlic, no vinegar, just water." Lola backed away, her hand flying to her chest to make the sign of the cross. Even I, a young girl, knew what this meant. Salt wards off evil. Garlic weakens them. What Lolo was doing. ... It wasn't cooking. It was a preparation, an invitation. The storm howled outside, a monstrous, living thing. We sat in a tense silence, broken only by the relentless drumming of rain on the Nepa leaves and the gruesome, bubbling sound coming from the pot. Then, through the roar of the typhoon, came a knock. It was a soft tap, 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 but it cut through the storm's fury with an unnatural clarity. Lola held her breath, her knuckles white as she gripped my arm. The knock came again, a little more insistent this time. A woman's voice, frail and desperate, drifted through the wooden door. "Please, help me." Lolo Based stood up, his movements deliberate. He walked to the door and drew back the heavy wooden latch. A cyclone of wind and rain burst in, extinguishing the single candle and plunging us into near darkness, lit only by the faint, dancing glow of the fire pit. A woman stood there, drenched and shivering. Her long black hair was plastered to her pale face, but it was her eyes that made me recoil. They were wide, too wide, and as red as gamamala petals. "Thank you," she breathed, stumbling inside. I am so hungry." "Sit," Lolo Based said, his voice steady. "We don't have much." Lola Elena stammered, instinctively shielding me with her body. Just boiled goat." "It's fine," the woman smiled, but the smile was a cold, empty thing that never reached her raw, red eyes. Lolo ladled a full bowl of the bland, unseasoned meat and offered it to her. She didn't bother with the spoon he placed beside it. She bent her face directly to the bowl, and I heard a wet, slurping sound, followed by a dry, sickening crack. Lola Elena pulled me closer, her lips brushing my ear as she whispered, her voice trembling with terror. Maria, Apo, whatever happens, do not eat that meat. Not one single bite. The woman looked up from the bowl. Grease ran down her chin. She had eaten everything: the meat, the broth, the bones. Nothing was left. Delicious, she said, licking her lips, but I am still hungry. It is all gone, Lolo replied, his tone firm. He jutted his chin toward the tiny, dark storage room at the far end of the hut. You can stay in there and wait out the storm. The woman laughed, a sound like dry, dead leaves rustling in the wind. Without another word, she turned and disappeared into the pitch-black darkness of the room. We did not sleep. The storm seemed to lull after that, leaving only the sound of a steady, drizzling rain. But the silence inside the hut was far more terrifying than the typhoon had been. Lola mumbled her prayers, her rosary beads clicking softly in her shaking hands. Then, a sound came from the storage room. Not a knock, a voice, a whisper. Apo, Maria. I froze. Every muscle in my body went rigid. Beside me, Lola stopped praying, her eyes wide with a primal fear. I'm so cold. Anak, my child, the voice whispered again, sickly sweet and horribly intimate. Don't listen to it. Maria, Lolo based said, his voice a low growl. His eyes remained fixed on the main door, as if expecting something else entirely. The voice changed then, becoming strangely familiar, like a half-remembered song from a dream. Maria, it's me. It's Mama. My heart stopped. My mother died giving birth to me. I had never known her, never heard her voice. I turned to my grandmother, my mind reeling with confusion. Lola, no! Lola cried, her voice cracking with desperation. Your mother is with God. Don't believe it. It's a trick. A dry, chilling laugh echoed from the darkness. With God, no. I'm right here. Bates let me in. He knew I was coming. Lola spun on Lolo, the fear in her eyes hardening into a blistering rage. Based. What is this? What have you done to us? It's the debt, Elena. Be silent. Lolo roared, his voice shaking the small hut. But his words were drowned out by another sound. A roar so powerful it shook the foundations of our home, sending ash and dust down from the rafters. It came from outside. Something massive was pounding on the front door. Open. A voice like grinding stones boomed through the wood. Give her to me. The door didn't just open. It exploded inward, splintering into 1,000 pieces. Something impossibly massive stood in the doorway. It was too tall for the frame, its broad shoulders scraping the edges. It had to duck its head to look inside, and what I saw weren't eyes, but two black, empty pits staring out of a monstrous face. The stench of rotted meat and freshly turned graveyard earth flooded the room, choking me. What did you do to her? It roared, its non-existent gaze fixed on Lolo based. The woman burst from the storage room, but she was no longer a woman. Her skin was split and peeling, revealing leathery bat wings and long, razor-sharp claws. She was an Aswang. She launched herself at the giant, screeching, "He is mine. The debt is mine." The giant sneered, "You lie." It sniffed the air, a grotesque, wet sound. I smell, ... her. And I smell, ... It pointed a huge, gnarled finger at the pot over the fire. You fed her the offering. The two monsters collided with a sound like a thunderclap. The giant seized the female Aswang and threw her through the nipa wall as if she were a mere rag doll. She disappeared into the stormy night. The giants turned back to Lolo. "Now you, keeper of the pact." It lunged for my grandfather. But Lolo was ready. He didn't reach for his bolo knife. From the shadows beside the broken doorway, he pulled a long, sharpened bamboo stake, its tip blackened with age. With a warrior's cry, he rammed the tulos straight into the giant's chest. There was no blood, no scream of pain. The giant simply looked down at the stake protruding from its torso, then back at Lolo, its expression one of pure confusion. It opened its massive mouth, but instead of a roar, a flood of thousands of black, hissing insects poured out. Its entire body dissolved, collapsing into a seething, writhing pile of beetles on the floor. The rain blowing in from the broken wall washed them away into the mud. The hut fell utterly silent, save for the patter of the rain and our own ragged, gasping breaths. The female Aswang was gone. The giant was gone. Lolo based let out a long, heavy breath. Lola Elena was still whispering prayers, her body shaking uncontrollably. "It is over," Lolo said, his voice raspy. "We are safe until the next cycle." Cycle? I stammered, my own voice a small, trembling thing. "What were they, Lolo? What was all this?" Lolo Base turned to me, and on his face was an ancient, bone-deep weariness. "A debt, Apo. An old debt." He pointed to the main post in the center of our hut, just above the fire pit. There, carved deep into the wood, was a small Anita statue, a guardian spirit of the mountain. Its seashell eyes seemed to watch over us. "The god of the mountain," Lolo said quietly. "Our ancestors made a pact, a promise. We are allowed to live on this land, to build our home, to farm. In return, every time the great Baguio comes, the typhoon that signals its hunger, we must give an offering." I looked at the now empty pot. "The goat." "The goat is the offering," Lolo nodded. "But there are others. Things like the they are drawn to the offering. They smell it and they want to steal it for themselves to gain power. Our job, our part of the pact, is to protect the debt." My head was spinning. The smell of boiled goat, of rain-soaked mud, of dead insects. It was all too much. I woke up on my bannig mat, my body aching as if I'd been the one fighting monsters. Outside, I heard the gentle sound of birdsong. The storm had passed. The sun was shining. I stumbled outside, blinking in the bright light, and I froze. The rain was a viscous wall of sound. My Lolo Based was standing in the mud, his bolo raised high. In front of him, Angitam, the old goat, stood perfectly still, its ancient yellow eyes fixed on me. My Lola Alina was crumpled on the threshold of Annepat, sobbing. "Based," she shrieked. "It has the eyes of a person. It is a sin." Lolo Based turned his head and looked directly at me. His face was a cold, hard, mahogany mask. "They are coming, Maria," he said, his voice flat and eternal. "They cannot be left hungry. My name is Mia. I'm a woman, and I wish I had died last night. It all started with a smell, not the smell of death. It was sweeter way. Too sweet. A thick, cloying sweetness rising from the shower drain in my bathroom, like langka jackfruit left to rot for weeks. mixed with that damp mustiness that coats Manila during the rainy season. Outside, a typhoon screamed. Rain lashed sideways against the windows of my apartment, Unit 302 of the Beacon Tower. The building shuddered with every gust. I was used to storms, but this smell, this was new. It coated the back of my throat like syrup. I was just about to message building admin when my phone buzzed. Not one message, but a flood of them in our residence Viber group. It was Kiko from 301. He'd sent a photo with the message. Guys, anyone else see this in their toilet? Something small, long, coiled around the base of his toilet. It had scales, but not normal scales. They shimmered like mother of pearl, spiraling in patterns of green and purple. It was hideously beautiful. Then another message from Kiko. I flushed 3 times. It wouldn't go down, had to kill it with a stick. He attached another image, a bloody mess smeared across his bathroom floor. Mr. Reyes from 401 replied, disgusting. Car maintenance. Kiko. Must be a sewage issue. Kiko typed back, smashed it, and threw it down the garbage chute. The smell was awful. I shivered. Kiko's unit, 301, was right across the hall from mine. The same smell filled my bathroom stronger now, sharper, tinged with ozone from the storm. Then a new message popped up from Aide Clara in 501. What did you do? You shouldn't have killed it. My God, you killed the child. Kiko replied. What are you talking about, Clara? It was a snake or an eel. Whatever, you fool, she wrote. That was the bata, the child of the ina. The mother will come looking. She will come for her child. Mr. Reyes chimed in. Come on, Clara. Don't bring your provincial superstitions here. This is Makati, not the province. We're on the 30th floor. It's a sanitation issue, not a legend. Aide Clara sent a flurry of messages. Block your drains. Use wet towels. Block the gaps under your doors. Do not open for anyone. The mother will not forgive. Her frantic warnings were met with a meme from Kiko. The group chat erupted in laughter. I smiled too, briefly then froze. That smell, the sickly sweet jackfruit rot, it was getting stronger. It was getting stronger. I grabbed a roll of duct tape and sealed both the shower and floor drains in my bathroom. I told myself it was just to stop the smell. Not because I was actually scared. That's when the lights went out. Not a flicker, just total, sudden darkness. The storm's shriek filled the void. My phone screen was the only light left, 20% battery. The building was dead silent. Even the hallway's emergency lights were out. We were completely cut off. Then a sound began. Not footsteps, not banging, a slithering, wet, heavy, like someone dragging a sack of spoiled meat across the tiles. She ker tata, ker. I pressed my ear against my front door. The wood was cold. The sound stopped right outside, and then the smell hit me, stronger than ever. Rotten jackfruit mixed with spoiled fish and brass. It seeped under the door. I gagged and covered my mouth. My phone buzzed again. It was Lolo Ben from 601. Power's out. Is someone in the hallway? I hear something like water running. Lolo Ben was a sweet old man who always gave me candy in the elevator. I quickly typed back, Lolo, stay inside. Don't go out, Mr. Reyes added. Probably a pipe burst. This building's a mess. My battery's at 15%. Lolo Ben typed again. No, it's wet. The hallway. The floor's wet. I'm looking through the peephole. Then, oh my God. What is that? Lolo Ben, what do you see? I asked. Kiko joked. The old man's trying to freak us out. Then a notification. Lolo Ben is starting a group video call. My hand shook as I tapped accept. The screen split into boxers. Mine, Kiko's, Mr. Reyes's, and Lolo Ben's dark, flickering feed. All we could hear was his ragged breathing. Lolo, I whispered. It's here, he croaked. It knows I'm watching. What do you see? Mr. Reyes demanded, his face ghostly in the glow of his phone. Lolo's camera jittered. It looked like he was filming through his peephole. We could only see a sickly yellow blur like an emergency light, but none of ours were working. It's so wet, he murmured. So slippery. The camera spun wildly. For a split second, we saw his face terrified, pale, eyes wide. Then he stumbled backward. No, please. His scream tore through our phone, speakers then cut off with a wet gulp. There was a crack, a heavy, meaty snap. The phone fell. The camera tumbled, then lay still, pointing at the ceiling. We all held our breath. Lolo, Kiko said weakly. Silence. And then something moved across the lens of his camera. Not a snake, not anything human. A slick, white mass, glistening like mother of pearl. The same pattern as the thing Kiko had killed. It filled the screen, impossibly large, no eyes, just skin shimmering, wet, endless. As it slid past, we heard bones crunching. The call ended. I threw my phone and crawled backward until I hit the wall. The sound started again. Shit, it was right outside my door. The stench flooded in thick, chemical, and sweet. Something wet seeped under the door. A pale, pearlescent slime. My phone buzzed. It was 8 Clara. The mother has taken one, but she is still hungry. She's angry. Kiko frantically typed, "What the hell are you talking about? Clara, what was that?" Mr. Reyes wrote, "Call the police. Someone call the police." No signal. 8, Clara replied. "It's useless. The storm blinds them. This building is a Keja womb. The mother is here to birth and to collect her debt." She sent one more message. "Kiko, Ke-301 you killed her child. You must pay." The slithering sound moved away from my door, ... and toward his. Then the screaming started. Kiko's voice, raw with terror. A crash. The sound of twisting metal. Something was ripping his steel door apart. Then just the storm again. A few moments later, another sound. A slow, rhythmic crack, crack, crack. Like someone chewing something large and brittle. I curled into the corner, shaking, trying not to breathe. My phone flashed. 10% battery. A message from Mr. Reyes. "She's a demon. Clara's a demon." I hear her in the hall. She's laughing. 8. Clara replied, "The blood of the killer was not enough. The mother still needs an offering." The arrogant one who denied her. Mr. Reyes's next message was gibberish. ASDHF, HGAS, and $. After that, the group chat went silent. Kiko was gone. Lolo Ben was gone. Mr. Reyes was gone. Only me and Clara remained active in the chat. Minutes passed. The storm seemed to be easing up. Maybe it was over. Maybe it had eaten its fill. I was shaking so hard, I could barely stand. I stumbled toward the bathroom, feeling sick. The beam of my phone's flashlight swept across the tiles. The duct tape I'd placed over the shower drain. It was bulging. Something underneath was pushing upward. A thick, pearlescent ooze seeped from the edges. The smell, God. The smell, it filled the room. Alive, pulsing. She. K-R-R-R-T. She. It wasn't in the hallway anymore. It was in the pipes. It was in the walls. My phone buzzed one last time. 8 Clara. The mother is finished with her feast. Now she looks for a place to rest. Her next message appeared. Don't worry, Mia. You were the only one who believed. You blocked the drains. You are so smart. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. If I blocked the drains, 8 Clara typed again. But you forgot one. My screen went black. Battery dead. Darkness swallowed me whole. And from above, from the central air conditioning, then something wet, pale, and reeking of rotten jackfruit began to drip onto my shoulder.
You promised you'd come back for me, Migo. That was the last thing I ever heard my sister say. Her 10-year-old voice breaking over the crackle of a payphone. That was 15 years ago. The day I lied, promising I'd return right before I ran away from that house, leaving Maria behind with the suffocating piety of our aunt, Tita Rosario. Now, Tita is gone, and I'm back, standing in front of that old stone house, the rusty key sweating in my palm. I didn't come to mourn. I came to sign the papers, sell this place, and finally erase the past. The moment I pushed open the heavy, narrow wood door, it wasn't just stale air that hit me. It was the smell of forgotten sin. The silence in the house was thick, heavy, like it had been holding its breath for far too long. It smelled of wilted sapobrita flowers, old candle wax, and the deep, musty scent of a tomb. The wind from the nearby lake couldn't seem to penetrate these walls. The Kappa's shell windows filtered the sunlight into a sickly, ghostly yellow glow, making everything look like it was preserved in old honey. I kept telling myself I was just here to clean up and get out. But as I walked through the living room, my eyes landed on something that stopped me cold. On a small table, Maria's bronze Kellentine gome set was waiting, but it wasn't dusty. In a room coated in the ashes of time, it was unnaturally bright. Someone had been polishing it. Someone had been waiting. And then I heard it. From upstairs. Asterisk, ting, asterisk, a single high, clear note. It felt expectant. Just the house settling. I whispered to myself, my voice hoarse. Somewhere in the rafters, a tuco lizard clicked its tongue, the only normal sound in this suffocating cage. I didn't dare go upstairs. That night, I slept on the woven rattan couch, my shirt glued to my skin with sweat. The heat was unbearable, but the cold dread in my chest was worse. I was drifting in that space between sleep and waking when I heard it again. Asterisk, ting, ting. Asterisk, 2 notes this time. Closer. I shot bolt upright, my heart hammering against my ribs. The tuco had gone silent. The entire house was listening. The next day, I forced myself to finish the job. I had to go upstairs. Each step on the old wooden staircase groaned in protest. The air up here was even more oppressive. The smell of wax and wilted jasmine was overpowering. Tita Rosario's room was like a private chapel, filled with dozens of Santo Nino statues staring at me with their empty glass eyes. But it wasn't the smell of wax that was making me sick. There was another scent coiling underneath it, sweet, almost nauseating, like forgotten fruit left to ferment in a sealed bowl. I crossed the hall to Maria's room. The door was locked. I remembered Tita locking it right after I left, saying she wanted to keep things just as she left them. It sounded sentimental back then. Now, it sounded grotesque. I found the small, ice-cold key resting on the door jamb. When I opened the door, the stench hit me like a physical blow. A blast of hot, wet air, carrying that smell of rotten fruit and something else, something acidic. Maria's room wasn't dusty. Just like the Kalintang downstairs, it had been perfectly preserved. Her old rag doll lay face up on the bed, its button eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. Everything was neat. Everything except for the ornate aparador, the wardrobe, in the corner. It wasn't sitting straight. It was askew, as if someone had been pushing on it from the inside, and the stench was rolling out from behind it. A cold dread snaked its way down my spine. I moved closer, trying to pull the handle. It wouldn't budge. It felt blocked from the inside. I held my breath, bent down, and peered through the tiny crack between the cabinet doors. I saw nothing but darkness, but I could smell the rot, and I could feel warmth. Something was breathing in there. I stumbled back, slamming the bedroom door shut and leaning against it, panting. This had to be a joke. Tita was just an eccentric old woman. Maybe she'd locked a cat or some other animal in there, and it had died. Yes, that's all it was. Just an animal. I decided I would call the real estate agent right now, tell them to handle it. But when I pulled out my phone, there was no signal. The thick stone walls of the Bahay Nabado had swallowed it whole. And then the storm hit. It came on so suddenly, as if the sky itself wanted to trap me here. The wind shrieked through the banana trees like a whale. Rain lashed against the Kappa's windows like thousands of tiny, frantic fingers tapping to get in. And with a deafening crack of thunder, the power died. I was plunged into near-total darkness, lit only by the weak glow of my phone screen. And in the low growl of the storm, I heard it. Not just a single note. A melody. A slow, hesitant, painfully familiar melody. The lullaby our mother used to sing to Maria. The Kalintang was being played. It was coming from Maria's room. Who's there? I shouted, my voice cracking. Stop it, please. Only the storm answered. But the melody continued, steady, patient, as if it had been playing that same song for 15 long years. Guilt. It was stronger than fear now. I had promised I'd come back. I had abandoned her. Maybe this was a sign. Maybe Tita had hidden something of Maria's in there. I pushed open Maria's door again. The room was a black void. My phone's light danced nervously on the walls. The melody wasn't coming from the Kalintang on the table. It was coming from inside the aparador, and it was mixed with another sound. A scraping. Asterisk, scritch, 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 asterisk, Maria? I whispered, terror and a wild, insane hope rising in my throat. Is that you? The music and the scraping stopped instantly. A dreadful, false silence fell over the room. I pressed my ear against the cold wood of the wardrobe. You promised. A muffled, choked whisper from within. It was Maria's voice. I screamed. I wasn't thinking anymore. I threw my entire body against the wardrobe. Maria, I'm here. It's Miguel. The aparador was absurdly heavy. I shoved with all my strength as it scraped across the floor. It wasn't heavy with clothes. It was heavy because it was blocking something. I shined my phone into the gap I'd created. The wardrobe wasn't against the wall. There was a space behind it. And in that space was another door. A small, low door, like one for a cellar. It had no handle, and it was sealed shut, thick with layers of melted candle wax, just like the kind Tita used to seal on holy statues. She had locked her in. Tita, in her religious fanaticism, hadn't taken Maria to a hospital. She must have believed my sister was possessed. She had performed her own exorcism, and she had failed. Maria, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I sobbed, clawing at the hardened wax with my fingernails. The scraping started again, frantic, from the other side of the small door. And then I heard a click. A bolt was being drawn. from the inside. Impossible. Tita Rosario had been dead for a week. Who drew the bolt? Who had been polishing the kulintang? The small door swung open. A blast of hot, putrid air hit me, making me gag. My phone's light cut into the blackness inside. It was a narrow space, just a hollow between the walls. I saw an overturned bucket, moldy scraps of food. Tita had been feeding it, and in the corner, a huddled shape. I almost fainted with relief. She was alive. Emaciated, skin and bones, but alive. Maria. I brought the light closer, and then it looked up. It wasn't Maria. It couldn't be. This thing, it was emaciated, but not weak. Its skin was a pale, grub-like white that had never seen the sun. Its long, matted black hair hung over its face. Migo, it hissed, and its head tilted to the side with a dry, cracking sound. I fell back, hitting the wall hard. I tried to scream, but all the air had been stolen from my lungs. It began to crawl out of the hollow. It didn't walk. It moved like a spider, unnervingly fast. It stopped in the beam of my phone, right in the middle of the room. I wanted to run. I turned, but the bedroom door slammed shut. The bolt slid home with a definitive final thud. The house, it was a trap. It had kept her. Now it was keeping me. I turned back, trembling. The thing had stood up. It was still wearing Maria's old dress. It lifted its head fully, letting the matted hair fall away from its face. It had no eyes, just two dark, deep sockets. And then it smiled. It had no teeth. Instead, its gums were swollen and black, pierced with small, sharp shards of bronze, the broken pieces of the kulintang. I waited, it whispered. Tita said you would never come back. Tita said you forgot. It took a lurching step toward me. But I knew you'd keep your promise. It tilted its head again. You came back, it hissed, the smile widening over the jagged bronze in its mouth. You came back? For me. My phone's light flickered once, twice, and died. I was plunged into darkness. Just the sound of the rain, the scraping sound on the floorboards moving closer, and the soft, satisfied asterisk ting asterisk of metal ringing right next to my ear.
The stench hit me before I even opened my eyes. A sour, putrid smell of spoiled milk, mingled with damp rust and something sickly sweet, like rotting jasmine. My name is Priya, and this is my nightmare. The ceiling fan went click-clack, click-clack, a ceaseless, maddening drumbeat, trying to chase away the thick Varanasi heat seeping through every crack of this old apartment. My husband, Ravi, was still away on business, leaving me alone with our little daughter Anjali and walls that seemed to sweat. We had just moved in 3 days ago. In those 3 days, I'd barely slept, not just because of the oppressive heat, but because of the smell and the sounds. Sometimes, deep in the night, I swore I heard at tusi-tusi-tusi-quats, not the sound of geckos, but a dry, scratching scrape and a wet, hurried licking coming from somewhere in the kitchen. Ma Anjali's whisper pierced through my exhaustion. I froze, praying she would stay asleep. Ma, she called again, her voice trembling on the edge of a sob. An unreasonable irritation swelled in my chest. I love her more than anything, but exhaustion was turning me into a rough, ugly version of myself. What is it, Betty? I can't sleep, she whispered, sitting up. Her shadow in the dim moonlight looked so small. It's too hot. Can you get me some, dude? Cold milk. Always milk. Her comfort and my curse. I dragged myself out of bed, the cold tile floor shocking my system. All right, Marianne, stay there. I'll get it. The kitchen was a pit of darkness, save for the sickly orange streetlight spilling through the small window. The rust and spoiled milk stench was stronger here. I opened the old fridge. Its motor wind and then died. A blast of cold air carried the foul smell right to me. The milk carton was still full. I poured a glass, but as I lifted it, something was wrong. In the dim light, the milk looked thick, and it was warm. Warm, though it had just come out of the fridge. I sniffed it. The pungent sourness hit me. It was spoiled. How? Anjali began to whimper from her room. Ma, where's the milk? It's spoiled. Sweetie, I called back, my voice cracking as I dumped the viscous liquid into the sink. It clung to the basin like paint. But I want milk, her scream drilled into my temples. Quiet, Anjali. Be quiet, I roared, and immediately felt sick with self-loathing. Her cry turned into panicked sobbing. Guilt cruised mare. No, Betty, I'm sorry. I couldn't bear it. I'll go buy some. Stay here. Lock the door. I didn't wait for a reply. I grabbed my wallet and rushed down the damp, salty-smelling stairs. The alley was pitch black, only a faint light at the far end. But Mr. Gupta's store was closed. The metal shutter was pulled down, silent and final. Too late, I had failed. I trudged back, feeling as heavy as a stone, ready to face the crying, the heat, and the apartment's screaming silence. Climbing the stairs, I noticed something odd. Silence. The apartment was completely still. My heart pounded. I fumbled with the lock and pushed the door open. The apartment was dark. The fan still went click-clack. The rust smell lingered. Angele, I whispered. No answer. I dashed to the bedroom. In the moonlight, she lay on the bed, sleeping soundly, her chest rising and falling in a peaceful rhythm. A breath I hadn't realized I was holding escaped my lips. How was this possible? Puzzled, I went back to the kitchen for some water, and then I saw it on the counter, beside the sink where I'd dumped the spoiled milk, sat a small earthen cup of color, a cup I had never seen before. Inside was a small amount of a milky liquid, glowing faintly in the dark. I brought it to my nose. A sweet aroma hit me: cardamom, rose, and that same metallic scent from before, but now it was alluring, not foul. I heard that TUC dash, from the nearby wall. I spun around, nothing. Only a set of parallel scratch marks near the floor that were definitely not there before. The next few days passed in a haze. Anjali became strangely obedient. She slept through the night. She made no demands. She only smiled in empty, vacant expression. Her cheeks seemed rosier. I, on the other hand, was a wreck, sleepless, tormented by sounds, scratching, licking, and a humming melodic, ancient female voice echoing through the rooms. Every morning, the color was on the counter, empty. A terrible fear began to grow, not of Anjali, but of the thing that was feeding her. A bitter, malicious envy took root inside me. It had succeeded where I had failed. It had silenced my child. It had become her mother. On the 6th night, I decided to end it. I lay in bed, pretending to sleep. I waited. Midnight. Ma. Anjali's voice, calm and expectant. I want milk. She sat up, not looking at me, but toward the kitchen door. No, Anjali, I my body trembling. "No milk tonight." She turned to me, and I screamed. Her eyes, in the moonlight, they were completely black. No whites. Just empty, bottomless black holes. "Milk," she hissed. Her voice a hoarse, guttural rasp that wasn't hers. At the same time, sounds erupted from the kitchen. Licking, humming. "No," I whispered, scrambling away from her. "Stay away from my child." I ran to the kitchen. The color was there, full of its glowing, milky poison. The humming was right behind me. The rusty stench so pungent it made me gag. "Get out." I grabbed the earthen cup, feeling its unnatural warmth, and hurled it against the wall. It shattered. The liquid splattered everywhere, and then absolute silence. The fan stopped. The humming ceased. The smell vanished. Then a scream from the bedroom. Not human. It was ear-piercing, furious, and hungry. "I'm hungry," Anjali shrieked, a sound that tore through the very fabric of the night. I stumbled back into the bedroom. She was standing on the bed, trembling, as she turned toward me, her black eyes fixed on me. I saw her skin was now gray and shriveled, like a dried-out corpse. "It's gone," she hissed, her voice impossibly ancient. "You made it go. You made my food go. Anjali, no. Ma is here. Bring IT back," she shrieked, leaping toward me, her small fingers curling into claws. I fell back, crawling desperately toward the kitchen. "I'm sorry. I'll get it back." I groped for the shattered pieces of the color on the floor. "Please, come back." She's hungry. Her screaming stopped, replaced by frantic hissing and scratching as she crawled rapidly toward me in the dark. And then I heard it, a wet, licking sound right by my ear. The kitchen air turned icy cold. The stench of rust and spoiled milk returned 1,000 times stronger. A cold, wet, bony hand rested lightly on my shoulder from behind. I froze completely. I didn't dare breathe. The melodic humming returned, not in the room, but as a whisper inside my mind. An ancient female voice, gentle and infinitely hungry. "It is hungry, ... double," quotes the voice whispered. "But now the cup has shattered. ... I squeezed my eyes shut, hot tears streaming down my face. "Do not worry," the voice continued, a horrifying reassurance washing over me. "A mother must sacrifice. Now ... you will be the milk." I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Only the click-clack of the fan restarting its rhythm, and Anjali's ravenous hissing, getting closer and closer in the dark. The first sound was a scratch, faint, but deliberate, metal against wood. That wasn't the wind. The sound came from inside my apartment. My eyes stayed shut, but my mind snapped awake, painfully, vividly awake. I was in my bed, in the Chicago apartment I shared with 2 roommates, and someone else was in the house. Another sound, a soft click from the living room. My roommate, Mark, slept like the dead. He wouldn't hear it. The other one, Ben, had said he'd be out late tonight. Or had he actually left? I held my breath, listening. Footsteps, 2 sets. Slow, deliberate. They weren't trying to be quiet. They wanted me to hear. A memory flashed in my Minda News article I'd read last week. A break-in, just a few blocks away. The homeowner startled the intruders. He was stabbed to death. "Don't move. Don't breathe," pretend to sleep. My heart fluttered like a trapped bird, crashing against my ribs. The air thickened, pressing down on me. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. A thin blade of light sliced across the floor as the door creaked open. I focused on my breathing steady, even, controlled. A shadow fell over my face, and then the smell hit me metallic and sour, like old coins and damp wool. I know she's not asleep. The voice was raspy, dry, scraping through my nerves. Every muscle in me screamed to run. Don't react. Don't react. Look at her eyelids. Another voice replied lower, calmer, almost amused. There, twitching. She's pretending. Doesn't matter, the first voice rasped. We'll handle her later. A soft click echoed in the silence. A blade flicking open. The shadow moved. I braced for pain, for pressure, for anything. Instead, the raspy voice gave a low, ugly chuckle. Not yet. Take care of the other one first. Make sure he's handled. 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 What the hell did that mean? The shadow backed away. The door shut with a quiet thud. But they were still out there. Then came the muffled sounds shuffling, a dull thud, and a wet, final noise from Mark's room, and then silence. Hot tears burned in my eyes, but I swallowed them back. I needed to move. My phonet was on the nightstand. My hand shook violently as I reached out, fingers brushing the cold glass. I pulled it beneath the blanket, shielding the light. 911. 2 intruders. My roommate's hurt may be dead. 1 Elm Street. Please hurry. I'm hiding. Send. I waited 1 minute. 2. The screen lit up. Delivered. Then 3 dots appeared. Someone was typing back. A reply. From 911. The message came through. I know you're not asleep. A chill sharper than a knife ripped through me. No, that wasn't possible. I tried to reply, but the keyboard was gone. A single red dot pulsed. On the screen, a new message popped up. WhatsApp. From Ben. Hey, anyone home? You guys still awake? My fingers flew across the screen. Ben, don't come home. Call 911 now. There's someone here. I think Mark's dead. An instant reply. I know. They're not here to steal anything. Sarah. What? Ben, what are you talking about? Call the cops. I can't, he wrote. They're not here for things. They're here to harvest. Just stay still. Don't let them know you know. Harvest. What are you talking about? They're harvesting fear, Sarah. Before I could type again, the footsteps returned. I tossed the phone aside, killing the screen. The door opened. The metallic smell was stronger now. She just used her phone, the deep voice said. Doesn't matter? Rasped the other. He was closer, right beside my bed, the frequencies peaking. She's terrified. We can begin extraction. Something cold pressed against my forehead, smooth, metallic. Not a hand. I clenched, my eyes shut, trembling. Don't fight it, the raspy voice whispered, right by my ear. It's just a nightmare. And then white, blinding white, a shriek of sound drilled through my skull. The pressure built, and I fell into the whiteness. When I gasped awake, the smell was gone. No blood, no metal, just antiseptic, and sterile linen. I was in a white room, a hospital, and IV was in my arm. I was in a hospital gown. My heart still raced, but the terror was gone, replaced by confusion. The door opened. Two men stepped in, doctors. White coats, masks, surgical caps. One was tall, the other short and heavy-set. "Ah, Sarah, you're awake," said the tall one. His voice was low, muffled and disturbingly familiar. Where am I?" I rasped. "What happened?" "There were people in my apartment. My roommate, Mark." The men exchanged glances. The short one checked a chart, his voice cold. "You had an acute paranoid episode, Sarah. A severe hallucination. Ben brought you here after finding you screaming in your room." "No," I shook my head, my breath quickening. "No, that's not true. You were there. I heard your voices." The tall one smiled behind his mask. "That's common. Auditory hallucinations borrow familiar sounds. You likely heard us admitting you while you were sedated." "But Mark's fine," said the short one. "He's at work. Ben's waiting outside if you want to see him. But first, we need to complete your treatment." "Treatment? What treatment?" "You said it was a hallucination." "The hallucination is a symptom," the tall one said softly, almost soothingly. "We're treating the root cause, new experimental therapy. That dream you had about intruders means it's working. It's cleansing trauma." He gestured toward a complex machine beside the bed, all dials and screens. "Just rest, Sarah," said the short one. His voice rasped in a way that made my stomach twist. He lifted a small Bluetooth earpiece from a tray. "One last session to reset your baseline. This emits a specific frequency. It'll make you sleepy. Just listen. Don't let that nightmare fool you. It's not real." My head throbbed. Everything felt wrong, but the sunlight through the window, the calm in their voices, it all looked real. I nodded weakly. "Okay, fine." The short doctor placed the earpiece in my ear. "Good. Now close your eyes. We'll monitor you." Almost done. I lay back, closed my eyes. A soft click, then music. A deep, pulsing rhythm familiar. Endless by the Arcane, Ben's favorite band. Why, that song, the lyrics drifted through the air. Dreams still echo through the dark. My stomach twisted. That was the same song I'd heard from Ben's room the night before. "Wait," I whispered. "Just relax," said the tall one. "No," I said louder. I opened my eyes. They were watching me, but the masks were too dark. The edges of the room were melting. The sunlight turned gray, sickly. "I know you're not asleep," I whispered. The tall doctor's smile vanished. The short one lunged. "She's resisting. The cycle's breaking." He's "Shut it down," shouted the tall one. I screamed, ripping the four out, stumbling back. The music warped into static. The white walls dripped away like wet paint. Darkness closed in my bedroom. I was back, in my bed. The earpiece was gone. Silence. Was the hospital a dream? Or was this one? My phone lay on the floor. I grabbed it. A new message from Ben. "You came back sooner than expected." My blood turned to ice. "Ben, what's happening?" "The hospital. The doctors. It was a dream within a dream. A failsafe." That's where they send you when you get too close to waking up. They're not doctors, Sarah. They're the two men from the living room, just dressed differently. Why? What are they doing? I told you the harvest. Harvest of what? Nightmares. Fear. You're the farm, Sarah, and I'm the overseer. My hands went numb. You're one of them. I didn't let them in. I am part of this. We all are, even Mark. Mark's dead. I heard. He's not dead, just resting. He finished his cycle. You saw what they wanted you to see, what would scare you most. The truth crashed down like a wave. The scratching, the footsteps, the death, the hospital, all of it. A script, a performance. For me, so none of it's real? I'm just asleep. 3 dots appeared. Oh, it's real. The fear's real. That's all that matters to them. But you broke the loop. Woke up too early. You ruined the data. Then a sound. This time, real. Not a scratch. A bang. Furious. Heavy. Against my door. Another message blinked in. They're angry. The harvest failed. They're coming to reset you. Manually, the door cracked. A tall shadow. A short one. Not thieves. Not doctors. Just shapes. Empty, breathing darkness. What do? I typed, sobbing. Ben's final message appeared just as the tall shape reached for me, its fingers stretching impossibly long. Don't worry, you won't remember any of this. It's just a nightmare.
My name is Priya, and I would rather be set on fire than have to live through that last week in the Bandra apartment building again. It's only now, looking back, that I understand what really happened. At the time, all I knew was exhaustion. I'd just finished a 12-hour shift at a call center in Malad. 12 hours. Can you even imagine what that does to you? Stuck under harsh fluorescent lights, repeating, "Sir, have you tried restarting your router?" in a fake American accent, while sweat soaked through my uniform because the AC was on the fritz. I was a zombie, so tired that when the overcrowded bus finally spat me out in the alleyway behind my building, I almost fell asleep walking the last few steps to my door. The job was hell, but it paid the bills. And my apartment, well, it was a concrete shoebox, but it was my shoebox. My only real problem was the wall. The paper-thin wall that separated my bedroom from apartment 2 by Mr. Ghosh's place. Mr. Ghosh was already there when I moved in 3 years ago. It was a tiny elderly Bengali widower with neatly combed silver hair and a life as quiet as a whisper. People came and went in that building, but Mr. Ghosh was a permanent fixture. He was intensely private. For 3 years, the only glimpses I got into his world came through that wall. I'd hear the sizzle of mustard oil and spices at 7 p.m. sharp, which meant he was making his fish curry. And then there was the music. Not blaring jazz or anything, but soft, melancholic robin. The gentle notes of a sitar and tabla would drift through the plaster, just loud enough to remind me I wasn't completely alone. Sometimes, we'd pass on the stairs. He'd give me a small nod and a faint smile, murmur, "Namaskar, Betty," and then disappear into his apartment. He was the perfect neighbor, and then his grandson showed up. It was a suffocating Sunday afternoon. Mai in Mumbai. When the air is so thick you feel like you're swimming through soup. I was heading out to grab some milk when I saw him struggling with this enormous suitcase outside Tubi. He looked nothing like Mr. Ghosh. He was tall, wheat fair-skinned, wearing an expensive shirt that was already wrinkled and stained with sweat. He looked completely out of place in our grimy little hallway. I was about to just walk past when he called out, "Excuse me, are you a neighbor?" "I'm Rohan. Mr. Gosh's grandson. His voice was smooth, educated. I nodded and told him my name. Nice to meet you, he said, flashing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. I'm here to take care of my uncle. He's starting to lose his memory. Dementia, you know, forgetting everything, even to eat. So I need to manage his finances, make sure he's safe. Something about it felt wrong. Mr. Gosh had always seemed perfectly lucid whenever I saw him. But who was I to argue? I just mumbled something like, "Oh, that's good you're here," and hurried on my way. That's when everything changed. The music stopped. No more sitar drifting through the wall at night. The smell of fish curry disappeared. At first, honestly, it was a relief. Finally, absolute silence. But that silence quickly became heavy, suffocating. And something else replaced the music. Strange sounds. It started about a week after Rohan moved in. It was around 2 a.m. and I'd just managed to drift off after my night shift when this high-pitched, thin, steady whine woke me up. It sounded like a dentist's drill or some kind of small electric tool. It went on for an hour, then stopped. The next night, it came back, but this time it brought a sharp, chemical smell with it, seeping through the cracks in the wall. It was like vinegar, but stronger, with this sickly sweet, almost rotten undertone. I had to complain. The next morning, I knocked on Tubi's door. Rohan answered, still in silk pajamas, looking groggy and annoyed. What was that noise last night? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Oh, Priya, I'm so sorry. It's the air purifier. My uncle's place. It has a musty smell, and I'm experimenting with some handmade project taxidermy. Just a little hobby. I'll try to keep it down. Taxidermy. In a tiny Mumbai apartment, it was bizarre. But I was just too tired to argue. I nodded and went back to my room. The whining and the stench continued for 3 more nights. And then, suddenly, it all stopped. Completely. And that's when I started seeing Mr. Gosh again. I got home late. One Friday night, a light drizzle was falling, making the alley smell of wet garbage and damp earth. As primera walk ed up, I glanced up at my window, and I saw him standing in his living room, staring out. But something was wrong. He wasn't moving. Not just standing still, he was motionless. Like us, the streetlights cast strange shadows on his face, but I couldn't make out any expression. I shivered, telling myself he was just lost in thought. I rushed inside, looked at my door, and collapsed onto my bed. The next day, when I came back from the market, he was still there. Same position, same spot. Still staring out the window, a cold dread started to creep over me. I looked closer. He was wearing the same beige kurta, and his skin looked waxy, like a candle that was starting to melt. Even from 30 meters away, I could see how it seemed to sag around his neck and jawline. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was catatonia. Maybe Rohan had sedated him for his own good. But the fear didn't go away, it just got worse. One night, I couldn't sleep. The oppressive silence from Tubi was making my skin crawl. I pressed my ear against the shared wall. Nothing. I let out a breath, thinking I was just being paranoid. And then I heard it. A squelching sound, a wet, dragging noise. Like someone pulling a heavy, soaked rug across the floor. It was coming from inside Tubi. I held my breath. The sound stopped, right on the other side of the wall. And then, I heard breathing, gurgling, wheezing breaths. My blood ran cold. I stumbled back from the wall, my heart hammering against my ribs. How could that be? I glanced out my bedroom window, which gave me a partial view into 2B's living room. The statue of Mr. Gosh was still standing at his window. So, who, or what, was breathing just inches away from me, through a thin layer of plaster? I couldn't take it anymore. Adrenaline completely washed away my fatigue primer aditono. I had to know if Mr. Gosh was okay. I ran out of my apartment and started banging on 2B's door with both fists. Rohan, open up. Is Mr. Gosh okay? Open the door. The squelching stopped. Silence. Then, I heard heavy, dragging footsteps approaching the door. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Rohan stood there. He was shirtless. His skin was slick with sweat, but not normal sweat. It was thick, and it reeked of that same sickly sweet chemical smell that had been seeping into my apartment, making me want to gag. P.R.I. ... DD, he wheezed. The way he called me sister sent a shiver down my spine. You startled me. My uncle is sleeping. He's not sleeping, Primera shouted. He's been standing at the window all week. What is going on? A slow, horrifying smile spread across his sweaty face. Ah, he said. You saw that? He stepped back, opening the door wider. You're right. He's not sleeping. And then I saw it. In the dim light of the living room, what I thought was Mr. Gosh was no longer at the window. It was lying in a heap in an armchair, like a pile of discarded clothes. The beige kurta, the waxy hands, the hollowed-out face, with empty eye sockets. It wasn't Mr. Gosham, it was his skin. I turned back to Rohan in absolute horror. He was still smiling, his white teeth stark against his greasy face. It's not perfect yet, he whispered, a sick kind of pride in his voice. The stitching. It's tricky, but the next one will be much better. The next one. My eyes darted towards the kitchen. On the small steel table where Mr. Gosh used to chop his vegetables, there was now a row of gleaming tools. Surgical knives, scissors, needles, and spools of thread, not normal thread. It was transparent, like fishing line, and there was the small electric drill, its tip caked with some kind of dark material. I didn't scream, I couldn't. My throat was clamped shut. I just turned and ran. Rohan laughed behind me, his bare feet slapping on the hallway floor. Wait, Priya Didi, dinner's almost ready. We're neighbors. I slammed my apartment door shut and spun all 3 locks. I was shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone to dial 100. I stammered my address to the operator, trying to explain about Rohan, about the skin. The person on the line sounded skeptical, but they promised to send the police. Then the pounding started. Bang. Not on my door, on the shared wall. Bang. Bang. It was so hard that my only framed photo, a picture of me with my parents at the gateway of India, fell off the wall and shattered. Priya, Rohan's voice came muffled through the plaster, wet and terrifyingly intimate. Open up. Don't ruin this. I've almost got all the old man's savings. I just need one more signature. Bang. You know, an old man's skin is very thin, he whispered, his voice sounding like it was right next to my ear. It tears. So is silent. I had to use a lot of ... preservatives. But yours is so healthy. I huddled in the farthest corner of my room, my hand clamped over my mouth to stifle my sobs, tears streaming down my face. Then, I heard the faint wail of sirens in the distance. The pounding stopped. I heard the door too, to be slammed shut. Then, silence. Police arrived 10 minutes later. They broke down his door. I watched from a safe distance. Rohan was gone. He must have climbed out the kitchen window and down the drain pipe. The apartment reeked of chemicals and death. And in the armchair lay the skin suit of Mr. Gosh, collapsed and shriveled, its face as hollow as a Halloween mask. I saw a young officer, wearing gloves, poke at it before turning away and they never caught Rohan. It turned out Mr. Gosh didn't have a grandson. Rohan was just a con man who saw an opportunity. But he wasn't just a con man. He was a monster. I moved out the very next day. I only took my wallet and my passport. I slept on a colleague's floor for 3 weeks before I found a room in Thane, as far away from that place as I could get. Quit my job. I couldn't stand the silence between calls anymore. The silence felt like apartment to be. Sometimes, at night, when I'm alone in my new room, I still hear it, that high-pitched, thin whine, like a drill. Sometimes, I swear I can smell that sweet, chemical odor. I know it's just my imagination, but I always check my locks. 3 times, and I never, ever talk to my neighbors again. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found this unsettling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark side. Stay safe out there.
Outside the window of dorm room 4B, the snow howled like a living thing. The December storm had swallowed the remote Vermont University campus in a blinding silence. Only the wind whistling through the cracks of old Blackwood Hall broke the stillness. I tried to bury myself deeper under my thin blanket, forcing myself to ignore Ben's steady snoring from the bunk across the room. Sleep was nearly impossible. Something felt off. The silence beneath the wind was just too heavy. Just as I was finally dozing off, a faint, thin voice cut through the darkness. "Please, don't make any noise." I shot awake. Ben's snoring had stopped completely. The room was cloaked in dim darkness, with just the pale blue light from the storm seeping through the window. "Ben?" I whispered. No response. Then, from the top bunk above me, a voice rang out cold, clear, and decisive. "Kill it. Then it won't make any noise anymore." It was Josh. My heart leapt into my throat. I almost fell off the bed. "Josh? Ben? What are you guys talking about?" I fumbled for the desk lamp. Its weak yellow light spread across the room. Ben, in the bed opposite me, was sitting upright, his face pale, eyes wide, staring at my bunk. "Alex," his voice trembled. "Did you hear that?" "I heard it," I said, my throat dry and hoarse. I glanced up at Josh, lying still above me. "Josh, what did you just say?" No movement. I shook the mattress. "Josh!" At that moment, Ben screamed, his voice cracking. "Oh my God, Sam!" I spun around. Ben was pointing at Sam, our 4th roommate, lying on the bed beneath him. Sam lay flat on his back, eyes tightly shut, but his chest wasn't moving. I rushed over, pressing my ear to his chest. Nothing. His skin was cold as ice. No way. I stumbled back, hitting the desk. Ben was now checking on Josh. The same result. "They're not breathing." Ben hissed, backing toward the door. Both of them are dead. Quiet. I snapped, trying to force my mind to stay calm. They just spoke only a few seconds ago. Then I noticed it. The wind. It hadn't just weakened. It had stopped completely, like someone had flipped a giant switch. An absolute, suffocating silence hung over the room. Ben covered his mouth with his hand, his eyes glued to the window. "Alex, look." I turned slowly. In the frozen snowstorm, outside our 4th floor window, stood a towering shadow. It had no clear shape, just a void darker than night, a human-shaped emptiness. Slowly, it lifted its head. "We have to get out of here," Ben yelled, rushing for the door and twisting the knob. "Call for help. Call 911. "Don't," I shouted, grabbing his shoulders and pulling him back. "Don't open it. Are you insane? Our friends are dead. Listen to me." I growled, pressing him against the wall. "Remember what Josh said about this building? Blackwood Hall was built on an old asylum. Josh found a diary in the library about something called the Hollow Man. It hunts anyone trapped inside like us in this storm." Ben stared at me, then at the doorknob, then out the window. The shadow was gone. You're sure?" I hesitated. "Josh said it was just a legend. What if you're wrong?" Ben shouted, his voice cracking with desperation. "What if Sam and Josh are actually suffocating?" He shoved me aside and twisted the knob. The desk lamp flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. And then, Josh's voice echoed from behind us. "He's right, Ben. Don't open it." We froze. Slowly, we turned. Josh and Sam were standing there, perfectly fine, but their eyes were pitch black, with no whites visible at all. The point was to scare you, Sam said, a chilling smile spreading across his face. Open the door, Alex. Let us in, Ben screamed. The world around me trembled and dissolved. And then I opened my eyes. I was lying on the floor, gasping for air. The desk lamp was still on. The wind still howled outside. Alex, wake up, man. Josh was kneeling beside me, shaking my shoulders. Ben and Sam stood a few feet away, their faces pale with shock. You okay? Ben asked, his voice shaking. I struggled to sit up, leaning against the wall. What? What happened? You should be telling us that, Josh said gravely. We were asleep when we heard you mumbling. You got up, walked to the window, and just stood there staring outside. Then you said, we must invite it in, and you were about to open the door. I stared at them, horrified. No, you're the hallucinations, Sam and Josh. You weren't breathing. Silence fell over the room. Sam whispered, We experienced the same thing. In my hallucination, you were the one who wasn't breathing, and Ben was trying to trick me into opening the door. Ben nodded repeatedly, his eyes wide. Josh let out a heavy sigh. We all experienced illusions. It wants to divide us, scare us, so one of us opens that damn door. So, how do we know what's real? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Josh recalled the diary. The Hollow Man's illusions have no physical form. They're phantoms. They can talk. They can scare you, but they can't touch you or hurt you. Ben glanced at the thick chemistry textbook on Sam's desk. You mean, we have to test it, Josh said, standing up. Throw it, Ben. Ben shakily picked up the heavy book and threw it hard at Josh. It hit him squarely in the chest. Josh coughed violently. Ah, damn, that really hurts. A wave of relief flooded the room. I grabbed a pen and tossed it at Sam. He flinched as it bounced off his arm. Hey! Josh then threw a shoe at me. It hit my shoulder. It was painful, but strangely, wonderfully satisfying. I laughed, a broken, relieved sound. It's real. Oh God, it's real. We spent the next few minutes reassuring each other, nudging shoulders, patting backs. The nightmare had passed. Josh took control. Okay, no one sleeps. No one goes near the door. We sit right here, we talk, and we keep the lights on until sunrise. The storm can't last forever. We pulled our blankets to the floor, huddling in a circle. We talked about classes, winter break, anything and everything to stay awake. Hours crawled by. The wind outside howled and then softened in turns. Fatigue crept in, but fear kept us alert. At 4:17 a.m., Sam, who had been silent for nearly an hour, spoke just above the sound of the wind. Josh, I have a question. In the diary, does it say if we feel pain inside the death hallucination? The room went cold. Death hallucination? I repeated. Josh's voice was strained. If you fail the test, if you open the door, it doesn't kill you right away. It drags you into a perfect world, a place where you feel safe, right before your soul is consumed. The pain comes later, because your soul is trapped. Sam started to cry softly. When we were throwing things, I didn't feel anything. Ben's book went right through Josh's chest. Alex's pen went through my hand. I didn't feel it either, I whispered, a new dread coiling in my stomach. No way, I felt it. It's here, Sam sobbed, his body shaking. The death hallucination. One of us opened the door before this all started. Then screamed, scrambling to his feet and rushing for the door. We have to escape. Josh lunged to stop him, but it was too late. Ben yanked the door open, and the hallway was gone. There was only a thick, infinite darkness. The wind stopped. The door slammed shut with a dry click. Dozens of thin, black fingers like tree branches pulled Ben into the void. His face was strangely calm. Oh, So warm, he whispered. Josh and I froze, paralyzed with terror. Sam shivered, staring at the closed door. We failed. We stayed too long. I turned to Josh, who was gasping for air, his eyes fixed on the door. Then his voice changed, becoming smooth, deep, and eerily calm. The storm is over. Finally, peace. The desk lamp flickered one last time, then went out, plunging me into eternal darkness. The first thing Liam noticed about apartment 2B was the smell. It wasn't the simple mustiness of cheap graduate housing. It was more complicated a scent that crept into the back of your throat. Sour, almost chemical, with an underlying metallic tang that made him recoil. The apartment itself was miserable. The fluorescent kitchen light buzzed endlessly, casting a sickly yellow glow across grimy tiles. But Liam's student loans had already drained him dry. This was the only place he could afford, which meant he would have a roommate. His roommate was Julian. And Julian had been a ghost long before anything strange began. A final-year medical student, he seemed to exist only at odd hours. Liam would wake to find dishes moved or hear the toilet flush weakly at 3 in the morning. In the first 2 weeks, they spoke exactly 3 times, each time Julian avoiding eye contact. He was gaunt, a bundle of bones swallowed by an oversized hoodie. His skin carried the gray tint of old newspaper, his lips dry and cracked. But it was Julian's silence that unnerved Liam the most. He moved through the apartment without a sound. He was an absence, a hollow space in the air. Then it started. A Tuesday night, a storm pounding against the windows, wind shrieking through the warped frames. Liam was reading when he heard it. A click from the kitchen. He held his breath. The usual groans of the old building didn't sound like this. Click, dot, 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 click, dot, 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 dry, brittle, like snapping twigs, or ice cracking in a glass. Liam set his book down. Julian? His voice shook. Nothing. Just the rain. Click, click, click. The sound sharpened, sped up, then stopped. Liam froze, heart hammering. He told himself it was the fridge. Its compressor always sounded like a dying diesel engine. He tried to read again, but the words just swam before his eyes. The next night, it came again. But this time, it wasn't just clicking. There was a new sound, a tearing, scraping noise. Fear curdled into a cold unease. He crept out of bed. The thin wooden floor groaned, but it was drowned out by the kitchen noise. Click, scrape. The hallway was pitch black. The only light came from a sickly street lamp and a thin strip beneath the kitchen door. He heard breathing harsh, ragged, not Julian's quiet kind. He pushed the door open. The hinges shrieked. Inside, darkness dominated, except for one source of light. The refrigerator, its door open, casting a cold white glow on a crouching figure. Julian. His back was to Liam, shoulders twitching, trembling in short, jerky spasms. The hoodie hung on him, but he seemed oddly twisted, his posture unnatural, almost like his body was bending in impossible ways. Julian. Man, Liam stammered. You okay? The movement stopped. The air thickened, heavy with that metallic stench, stronger now, like something long forgotten decaying in the heat. Julian? Slowly, he rose. He didn't turn immediately. He just stood there, back still facing Liam, as if weighing something. Then he turned too smooth, too fast. The fridge light illuminated his face from below. His eyes were wide, completely blank, milky white, reflecting the light like glass marbles. And his expression, it was unnatural, almost inhuman. He held something in his hand, but Liam couldn't see it clearly. It was just twisted, shadowed, alien. Julian made a low, feral hiss, a sound that didn't belong to a human. Liam screamed, stumbling backward, tripping, crashing into the dark hallway. Then he heard footsteps fast, crawling Julian's shadow filling the doorway. The movement was wrong, joints bending at impossible angles. Liam bolted to his room, slamming the door, twisting the lock. Metal clicked just as a heavy weight slammed against the other side. Thud, thud. "Get out," Liam screamed, his voice cracking. "Julian, get out!" Silence. He pressed his back to the door, feeling every vibration. He could hear breathing on the other side, wet, ragged, and that smell. Rust and decay seeping through the cracks. Then, scratching. Soft, slow. Fingernails, or maybe not fingernails, dragging along the wood grain. Liam didn't sleep that night. Curled in the corner, clutching a heavy lamp, he endured the scratching for hours patient, steady fading only just before dawn. When the sun rose, trembling with exhaustion, Liam called campus security. 2 officers arrived, tired and unimpressed. Liam tried to explain. Strange movements, unnatural sounds, white eyes. They sighed, assuming it was stress or exhaustion. They knocked on Julian's door. No answer. They used a master key. The room was empty. Bed neatly made. Desk spotless. Closet bare. Julian had vanished. But the kitchen remained. The stench hit hard. The fridge was open. Empty. On the floor where Julian had crouched, a dark, sticky patch remained. And in the center, a single small object, a cracked fragment, ambiguous and unsettling. Liam moved out immediately. He slept on a friend's floor for a week, until housing found him a single room on the far side of campus. Weeks passed. Fall turned to winter. Liam began to feel safe. The strange noises stopped. He almost convinced himself it had all been a vivid, stress-induced nightmare. He was finally sleeping through the night again. Until a Thursday. It was midnight, and he was in the shared bathroom, brushing his teeth. The light flickered, and its hum died. He rinsed, spat. His reflection stared back, tired, thin, pale. But his eyes, they looked emptier than usual. A tingling sensation started in his gums, a dull ache. He opened his mouth. Something inside felt wrong, almost alive. And then he smelled it. Not from the hallway, not from the drain, from himself. A faint scent metallic, like old coins. He stepped back, his heart racing. He spat into the sink again. The white foam was streaked with a dark, uncanny hue. He swallowed, his throat dry. Suddenly, an uncontrollable hunger arose not for food, but for something primal, unexplainable. A cold emptiness inside demanded to be filled. He ran to his room, slamming the door. He tore open his mini fridge, yogurt, an apple, a sandwich. Everything smelled wrong, like ash. He clutched his head, fighting the ache in his jaw, the twisting pain in his gut. He closed his eyes. He saw Julian, those white eyes, that unnatural expression. Then he heard it, click, in the room, click, click. He looked down at his own hands. His jaw tensed, grinding. The hunger roared. He walked to the window. The campus was blanketed in snow. A freshman was walking alone down the path below, headphones in, completely unaware. So small, so soft. He pressed his forehead to the cold glass, watching the moving shape outside. A hot, viscous droplet slid from his mouth, a warning of what was awakening inside him. The itch in his gums had become a pain-deep, urgent alive. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. It really helps us out. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Karak karak, karak karak. That sound was the only constant in Kenji's world. It pulsed through the metal floor of the train, traveling up the worn soles of his shoes and drumming against his skull in a dull, steady rhythm. The last train on the Shu line, bound for Akishima, smelled faintly of damp wool, stale cigarettes, and that metallic trace of ozone after a hard rain. He was the only one left in the car. Rows of blue velvet seats stretched before him, empty, swaying gently under flickering fluorescent lights that hung weakly overhead. Something was off. Kenji knew this route like the back of his hand. He'd ridden it every single night for 15 years. But tonight, the train felt wrong, heavy, slow, as if it were dragging something unseen through thick water. He closed his eyes, trying to push away the memory of his project director's furious voice. "The Inunaki project is a stain, Kenji-san," the man had shouted, his breath heavy with expensive sake. "A stain that you made." Kenji hadn't replied. He'd only bowed lower, feeling the invisible weight of guilt pressing down on his chest. He had cut corners. He had ignored safety warnings. He had pushed his team beyond exhaustion to meet impossible deadlines. And then the structure collapsed. 3 men were gone. 3 names that would never leave his conscience. When Kenji opened his eyes again, the city lights outside the window had vanished. Only darkness remained. A tunnel. He frowned. There wasn't supposed to be a tunnel here, maybe a short one under an overpass. But not this. This felt deeper, older. The air grew colder. The rhythmic kadak-kadak disappeared, replaced by a slow, echoing thud dot 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 from unseen walls. Then, the train began to slow down. Not the smooth glide before a stop. This was rough, uneasy. The brakes groaned, metal straining against metal, until the car shuddered and came to a halt. Silence. The buzz of the lights sounded painfully loud. Kanji held his breath, listening. No announcements. No footsteps from the conductor. Only his own heartbeat and something else. Chink dot 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 dot. Chink dot dot dot. Scrape dot dot. A sound like metal striking stone. His throat went dry. He turned toward the window, but the glass was fogged by his own breath and the chill from outside. He wiped a small circle clear with his sleeve and froze. Outside wasn't a modern tunnel of concrete and steel. It was rock uneven, roughly carved, damp and glistening under a dim light. Old construction lamps hung from cables along the wall, casting a sickly yellow glow that flickered like candlelight in a dream. And in that light, dot, 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 were workers. They stood with their backs to the train, only a few steps away, wearing dusty protective gear and yellow helmets. They were working, one rhythmically striking at the rock, another scooping earth, their motions slow, repetitive, and eerily synchronized. Kenji's exhaustion vanished, replaced by a slow, rising chill. He told himself this wasn't real. He'd been awake too long. He was dreaming, he had to be. He rubbed his eyes hard until spots of light danced behind his lids. When he opened them again, they were still there. One of the men stopped moving. He stood still, shoulders sagging. Then, gradually, his head began to turn. Not his body, just his head. It turned too far, too slow. The shadow under the helmet hid his face, but Kenji didn't need to see it. He recognized the posture. "Sato-san," Kenji whispered. Sato, the young engineer, who had warned him about the unstable foundations. The one he'd dismissed as overly cautious. As if hearing his name, the figure tilted its head upward slightly. The dim light caught 2 faint reflections beneath the helmet-like eyes, leading his across a great distance. The second worker stopped, and the third, emerging from the shadows near the wall, straightened up. Tanaka, the senior foreman, the first to die. Now, all 3 stood facing the train. Their bodies didn't move. Only the air between them seemed to tighten. Kenji felt rooted to the spot, unable to move. The air in the car thickened, heavy with the smell of metal and dust. Then, one of the men took a step forward. Slowly, deliberately. The faint yellow light made the shape of his arm tremble like a reflection in disturbed water. He stopped at the window, close enough that Kenji could almost feel him there. The worker lifted one gloved hand and pressed it gently against the glass. A dark smear spread outward dirt, moisture, maybe something else. Kenji stared, frozen, and then he saw something within that mark, shifting faintly, as if the stain itself were looking back at him. His breath caught in his throat. The worker raised his other hand. In it was a yellow helmet muddy, scratched, but strangely intact. He held it up, offering it toward Kenji. An invitation. "No," Kenji whispered, tears stinging his eyes. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen." The figures didn't move. They simply waited. Without warning, the train lurched violently. A shrill metallic scream filled the air. Kenji fell to the floor as the train began to move again. He scrambled up, clutching the seat, staring out the window as the tunnel walls blurred past. The workers didn't follow. They simply faded into the darkness. The yellow lamps dimmed until only the faint smear on the glass remained. Its shape burned into his memory. The train burst out of the tunnel into Tokyo's familiar light. The kadak kadak, kadak kadak returned fast, desperate, human again. Kenji lay curled on the floor, shaking. Then came the chime. "Next stop, Akishima. Last stop. Doors will open on the left." The train slowed smooth this time. The station lights appeared. Kenji stood on trembling legs and grabbed his briefcase. As the doors hissed open, he stumbled out, collapsing onto the platform. He gasped for air, the night cold and sharp in his lungs, still carrying a faint trace of ozone. He was home. He was safe. It had all been a hallucination, a side effect of guilt and exhaustion. The doors closed behind him, and the train glided silently away. Kenji stayed on his knees, breathing hard. The platform was quiet. Too quiet. He looked up. The Akishima station was gone. No roof. No signs. No vending machines. Only bare, cracked concrete under a dim, flickering light. Around him wasn't the city. It was stone, dark, damp, endless. And overhead, a row of yellow construction lamps swayed gently, their light trembling across the rock ceiling. Kenji looked down. His hands no longer held a briefcase. They were gripping the smooth handle of a tool its surface worn, the faint scent of earth clinging to it. From the darkness ahead came a sound. Chink dot dot dot, chink dot dot dot, scrape dot dot. A tired, familiar voice echoed softly from within the stone. "You're late, Director. We still have work to finish. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. It really helps the channel grow. Stay safe out there." My aunt's voice was a thread of sound, barely there in the stifling heat of the kitchen. "You can't go out tonight, Jake. Not on the 19th. The mountain doesn't like it." I just waved her off. "I just need a little bourbon, Auntie. The liquor store on Highway 12 inches. It's closed," she cut in, her voice cracking with an urgency that startled me. Her deep-set eyes bored into mine. Closed for a long time. Like everything else in this godforsaken valley. Stay here, for me, but I couldn't. The four walls of my childhood home were closing in, the air thick with the smell of cough medicine and a mountain of regrets. I snatched my keys from the hook. Caroline reached out, a flicker of emotion, as if to stop me, but her hand fell back to her side, a gesture of painful resignation. She knew. She already knew there was no stopping what was meant to be. The night air hit me like a damp, heavy blanket. The Appalachian range that cradled our valley didn't look like sleeping giants tonight. They looked like silent mourners at a funeral. The town was utterly dead. Not a single cricket chirped. Not a dog barked. Just a deep, oppressive silence, the kind that feels like cotton stuffed in your ears. When I turned the key, my old truck's engine roared to life, shattering the quiet with a brutish violence that felt like a sacrilege. Highway 12 stretched out before me, cracked ribbon of asphalt, swallowed by the blackness of the pines on either side. My headlights could only carve a small, wavering tunnel through the suffocating dark. And then I saw him. A figure, staggering at the very edge of the light. He wore filthy work clothes and dragged one leg in a painful limp. Hemlock Peterson. My heart hammered against my ribs. Hemlock died in that mine collapse years ago. I slammed on the brakes, the truck skidding on loose gravel. I whipped my head around to look in the rearview mirror. The road was empty. Just your imagination, I muttered, my voice sounding small in the cab. But a cold dread snaked down my spine. Hemlock wasn't heading into town. He was going up the mountain, toward Black Rock Mine. I tried to shake the image from my mind and pushed the accelerator. A few miles down the road, something flickered ahead. A sickly, blinking red neon sign. Waltz, gas and liquor. It was lit, but Caroline had sworn it was closed. I pulled into the overgrown parking lot, the tires crunching on gravel and weeds. A foul stench immediately hit me, sulfur, mixed with something decaying, like wet clay from a freshly dug grave. The front door of the store was ajar, and it creaked open as I pushed it. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the sharp tang of old vinegar. That red neon light bathed everything in a gruesome, dried blood hue. The shelves were still stocked, but everything was coated in a thick, grayish film. Cereal boxes bulged unnaturally, and beer cans were warped and twisted. I walked cautiously toward the counter. Pinned to an old corkboard was a calendar. It was from 10 years ago, October. The 19th was circled in red ink. Beside it, a yellowed newspaper clipping. The headline screamed at me, Black Rock Mine Disaster, 12 dead. And below it, in much smaller print, Manager Jacob Harris denies responsibility. My name. A rustling sound came from the back of the store. I stumbled backward, crashing into a shelf. Bottles tumbled and shattered, releasing the stench of cheap, sour liquor. That was it. I bolted, bursting out into the night air and leaping into the truck, fumbling to lock the door. My hands shook so badly, I could barely get the key into the ignition. I turned it. A cold, dead click. Nothing. And then I saw him, standing at the edge of the parking lot, just outside the reach of my headlights. A figure in a heavy miner's jacket, which seemed oddly thick for such a warm night. His face was lost in the shadows beneath a helmet. Something black, wet, and viscous dripped from his sleeves, splattering onto the gravel below. I screamed, a raw, ragged sound, twisting the key again and again. Click, click. Then, with a shudder, the engine roared to life. I slammed the truck into gear and stomped on the gas. The wheels spun wildly before gripping the asphalt, and I sped away, leaving the red glow of Waltz behind me. I just had to get back to my aunt's house, back to safety. But the road, it was changing. The smooth asphalt had vanished, replaced by a rough, gravelly path. My heart sank into my stomach. I wasn't on Highway 12 anymore. This was the old service road, the road to Black Rock Mine. I tried to wrench the wheel to turn around, but the path was too narrow, flanked by steep, rocky inclines. The truck jolted to a violent halt, the engine dying with a final choked gasp. This time, I knew with chilling certainty it wouldn't start again. Silence fell, but it wasn't empty. It was a grotesque, living silence. The wind whistled through the rusted, skeletal frames of the abandoned mine equipment. And underneath that wind, I could hear it. Whispers, dozens of them, bitter and faint. Their words just beyond comprehension. I stumbled out of the truck, my only thought to walk back, to run. But my feet didn't feel like my own. They were guided, pulling me forward. I stood before the mine entrance, a gaping black mouth in the side of the mountain. A rusted sign swayed in the wind, its words barely legible. Danger nitrogen monoxide entry. And they were there. Dozens of figures scattered among the ruins. They stood atop heaps of coal and among the skeletal remains of machinery. All silent, all with their backs turned to me, staring down into the pitch-dark throat of the mine. I took a step back, and my foot crushed a dry branch. Snap. The sound was like a gunshot in the dead quiet. The turning began. First, it was Hemlock, off in the distance. His neck twisted with a sickening wet crack. Then another figure turned, and another. And then, all at once, in a silent, coordinated movement, their faces turned toward me. Pale, gaunt faces with eyes as blank and milky as marbles. I spun around to run, but the ground beneath my feet gave way. I plummeted into a pit, plunging into cold, viscous mud and coal slurry. A searing pain shot through my ankle. I struggled, trying to pull myself out, but the thick muck held me fast, like wet concrete. And then, from beneath the surface, something grabbed my ankle. An ice-cold hand, gripping me with impossible strength. I screamed, looking down into the black ooze. A face emerged from the mud. Ben, my deputy, my closest friend. His eyes were blank, murky voids. "You can't run, Jake," his voice echoed, a hoarse, earthy sound that seemed to come from below the ground itself. A woman stepped out from the crowd of silent figures. Sarah, Ben's wife. She was still wearing the red dress she had on at that barbecue, the last time I saw her alive. "The pump," she hissed, steam escaping her lips with the words. "You knew it was broken. You let them drown. You let him die. I'm sorry." I cried out, hot tears mixing with the cold mud on my face. "Sorry isn't enough," she whispered, her voice a chilling breeze. "Tonight, the mountain will reclaim what is its own." The other figures began to move, sliding down the sides of the pit toward me, their pale, grimy hands reaching out. "You belong to us," Ben growled from below, his grip tightening. I thrashed in pure despair as their fingers clutched at my arms, my legs, pulling me down into the suffocating darkness. Just then, the first weak light of dawn began to break over the mountaintop, piercing the mist. The light touched them. They didn't vanish in a puff of smoke. They froze, like marionettes with their strings cut. Sarah looked up at the sun, a lifetime of grief etched into her frozen face, before she and the rest of them slowly receded back into the mine's eternal darkness. Ben's hand released my ankle. I scrambled out of the pit, limping, gasping, my body shaking uncontrollably. I ran all the way back to Caroline's house, collapsing onto her doorstep. She opened the door, and there was no surprise in her eyes. Only a deep, piercing grief. "They found you," she whispered. I could only nod, speechless. "They always do," she said, her voice heavy with the weight of years. On the 19th, I dragged my battered body into the bathroom, desperate to wash away the mud, the stench, the memories. I stared into the mirror. My face was pale, scratched, and haunted. I looked down at my hands, scrubbing at the grime under my fingernails. And then I froze. It wasn't ordinary dirt. It was jet black coal, wet and glistening, as if freshly dug from the deepest part of the earth. I rubbed frantically, my skin turning raw, but it wouldn't come off. It was a curse, etched into my very flesh. I looked up at the mirror again, and for a terrifying split second, the eyes staring back at me were no longer my own. They were blank, milky, and full of accusation. And in that moment, I realized the truth. I would never leave this valley. I had belonged to this mountain all along. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into the dark. Stay safe out there. The air was so thick you could choke on it, sticky against my skin like a film of sweat that just wouldn't dry. It was Open Week, and the university dorm in Tokyo was almost completely empty. A silent concrete island adrift in the sea of festival noise outside. My name's Kenji. I told my parents I had to work my part-time job, but that was a lie. The truth is, I just wanted to be here, to soak in the silence. But tonight, that silence shattered. Dome dot 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 dome dot dot. A dull, heavy thudding sound. It wasn't footsteps. It was like someone was dropping a wet sandbag on the floor, over and over again. It came from the hallway, and it sounded like it was right outside my door. I held my breath, listening. Even the cicadas outside seemed to fall silent. A faint, almost imaginary scent of incense wafted through the air, the kind people burn for the dead during Oben. My phone vibrated on the desk, a jarring buzz in the quiet room. It was a line message. From Tanaka-san, the dorm manager. Kenji-san, don't open your door. I'm checking on the noise. Stay inside. A chill crawled right down my spine. Tanaka-san? But he went back to his family in Nagano 3 days ago. I saw him leave. My hands trembled as I typed back. You're still here, Tanaka-san? No reply. The message didn't even show as read. And then, the the hallway was dead quiet again. Another message buzzed on my screen. This one wasn't from Tanaka-san. It was from someone named Riku. Don't trust Tanaka-san. That's not him. He's the one making the noise. My stomach flipped. My fingers flew across the screen. Who are you? The reply was almost instant. Room 108. I'm watching him through the security camera feed on my laptop. He's on the 3rd floor, right outside your door. I slowly crept towards my door, my heart pounding in my ears. I leaned in, pressing my eye against the cold metal of the peephole. I scanned the hallway. It was empty. There was nothing but the dim, humming glow of the fluorescent lights and that lingering, cloying smell of incense. No one's there, I texted Riku. His response came back immediately. He moved. He knows you're watching. I flinched back from the door as if it were electrified. At that exact moment, the overhead light in the hall flickered erratically. And in that stuttering light, I saw it. A figure, tall and painfully thin, wearing a security guard's uniform. It was standing just around the corner of the stairwell, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, as if it were listening intently for something. My phone buzzed again. A message from Tanaka-san. Kenji-san, are you all right? Please confirm you're in room 303. Before I could even think about what to do, another message from Riku flashed on the screen, this one in all caps. Don't reply. He's trying to figure out which room you're in. My pulse was a drum beating against my throat. How could I trust this stranger? How do I know you're not lying, Riku? I typed, my thumbs fumbling. His answer made my blood run cold. Because I know you're in room 304 Haru's room. You told me you'd water his plants while he's gone for Oben. Remember? My heart just stopped. He was right. I wasn't in my room. 303. I'd been sleeping in 304 all week because my friend Haru's air conditioner worked better. RIKU ... This guy was real. With a new sense of dread, I moved to the door of room 304 and looked through its peephole. The angle was different. From here, I could see my own door, 303, directly across the hall. And then I saw him. A man or something shaped like one standing right in front of room 303. Tall, lanky, dressed in Tanaka-san's uniform. It slowly, mechanically, lifted its head. Down. It slammed its body into my door. Down. It wasn't using its hands. It was using its forehead. Down, dot, down, dot. Each impact was heavier than the last. A sickening sound of bone on wood echoing down the empty hall. Then, it stopped. It pressed its face hard against the peephole of room 303, trying to peer inside into the empty room. It knew I wasn't there, and then it turned, slowly, deliberately. It turned its head until it was facing my direction. Facing room 304, facing me. It stared straight at my door, straight at me. Guttural, inhuman roar ripped through the hall, followed by a violent explosion of sound. Bang, bang, bang! The door to Haru's room shook under the force of the blows. The doorknob twisted back and forth, rattling furiously. I screamed, stumbling backward and crashing into the desk, sending things scattering. My phone clattered to the floor. The screen lit up with one last message from Riku. He found me. He's outside my door. I'm sorry, Kenji. Then, another message popped up below it. From Tanaka-san. Found you, Kenji-san. And just like that, the rattling stopped. The pounding ceased. Silence descended once more, heavier and more terrifying than before. I held my breath, every muscle tensed. Sweat dripped from my forehead onto the tatami mat. Then a soft click, the sound of a key turning in the lock. I threw my entire body against the door, a useless, desperate gesture. It was too late. The door burst open. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for the inevitable, for death. Nothing. Slowly, I opened my eyes. The hallway was empty. The weak fluorescent light flickered on. Business as usual. The smell of incense was gone. Outside, the cicadas started their deafening chorus again, their rhythm seeming to mock my terror. I shakily picked up my phone. No new messages. Riku? Are you okay? He's gone. I typed. No reply. I had to check. I had to know. I grabbed Haru's old baseball bat from his closet and stepped out into the hall. The air was hot, but it felt lighter now, no longer pressing down on me. It was just an empty, silent door. I made my way down the stairs, one careful, creaking step at a time, my knuckles white on the bat. The first floor hallway stretched out before me, dim and quiet. Room 108. The door was slightly ajar. Riku? I whispered, my voice barely a crackle. I pushed the door open. The room was dark, coated in a fine layer of dust. I fumbled for the light switch and flicked it on. There was nothing. No laptop, no futon, no sign anyone had lived here recently. Only a wall calendar, the page still turned to August ... of last year. My heart started pounding against my ribs. No, that's not possible. I ran to the security office at the end of the hall. The monitors were all hissing with static. On the desk lay a thick, leather-bound duty logbook. I frantically flipped it open to the resident registry. Room 108, vacant. Room 303, Kanji Tanaka. Room 304, Haru Ito. Wait, Kenji Tanaka? My name is Kenji Suzuki, not Tanaka. I flipped toward the back of the book, to the incident reports. One entry was marked in stark red ink. August 13th, last year. 23 o'clock. Student Riku in room 108 reported an intruder. Security check found nothing. Student displayed signs of severe paranoia. Next morning, August 14th, Riku found deceased in his room, apparent suicide. My throat went completely dry. Riku, he was dead. He's been dead for a whole year. Then, who was I texting? Another report was logged right below it. Same date, August 14th, student Haru Ito, room 304, found murdered. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Primary suspect, Kenji Tanaka, room 303, son of dorm manager Tanaka. Kenji ... Tanaka. I stared at the page, the words blurring. Suspect fled the scene. Last confirmed location, room 304. A horrifying realization dawned on me, so cold and sharp it stole my breath. I'm not Kenji Suzuki. I'm Kenji Tanaka. Tanaka-san. He's my father, and I've been hiding in Haru's room for a year. I stumbled backward, crashing into the bank of monitors. The static hissed louder, almost like it was laughing. Then, one of the screens flickered. The image sharpened, clearing to show a live feed of the hallway right outside the security office I was in. A tall figure stood there, its back to the camera. My figure, my clothes. Slowly, it began to turn around. It was me, but it wasn't me. Its eyes were just empty, black sockets. Its mouth was stretched wide in a silent scream far too wide to be human. It raised a hand, and it waved. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a deep, final vibration. I pulled it out with a hand that felt like it belonged to someone else. A new line message had appeared, from an account I'd blocked a year ago. From Haru. Found you, Kenji.
The sky over Mumbai darkened, heavy, like a drenched velvet blanket thrown across it. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, the power snapped off. It wasn't just a blackout, it was a silence that swallowed every sound. Ceiling fans froze, TVs went dead, and the relentless noise of the crumbling Golmahar Haveli just stopped. I held my breath. The monsoon rain hammered the tin roof on my balcony, and below, the car horns vanished into the sticky, suffocating heat. The air inside my apartment, thickened instantly. Sweat trickled down my neck, mixing with the faint curry sent from my neighbor's kitchen. And then came the building's century-old mustinasta, smell of damp walls, of time itself and untold stories that always made me feel trapped. I groped across the table, my hand brushing against my phone. The screen was black, the power bank dead, perfect, alone in the dark, with walls that seemed to breathe. And then it began. A cry. From apartment for B, they'd moved in just 3 weeks ago, a young couple with a newborn. At first, the cry was weak, pitiful, then it shredded into a sharp, piercing sound that cut right through the paper-thin walls. I closed my eyes, trying to endure it. Baby's cry. That's normal. But this cry, this wasn't like any babies I had heard before. It just stretched on. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It wasn't a plea for comfort anymore, it had become mechanical, relentless, soulless, like an ultrasonic drill boring into my skull. It never even paused for breath on or passade. I was sitting on the cold floor, hugging my knees, my shirt soaked with sweat, hands pressed tightly over my ears. The downpour outside couldn't drown it out. The cry was like a blunt dagger, stabbing over and over at my frayed nerves. Nausea was rising in my throat. Then the room filled with a scent of pungent jasmine, like flowers wilted from some ritual, mingled with a cloying, rotten sweetness, like decaying meat. I'd smelled it last week, but dismissed it, assuming it was just the wind. Suddenly, as abruptly as the power had cut out, the crying stopped. The silence that followed was worse, expectant, promising something far more terrible. I froze, my muscles taut. From the other side of the wall, a voice. MrSharmas.com, mechanical. She, Beta. Peppa won't let you disturb them. Then, a soft, dull thud, like a small sack of rice being dropped on the floor. Primera Shranek bake. No, it couldn't be. I was just scaring myself. Surely, he was just soothing the baby. Surely, I crawled to the front door, pressing my ear against the heavy wood. The hallway was dead silent. The whole Haveli felt like a tomb. I peered through the peephole, fogged with moisture, and saw only a faint yellow glow from the emergency light down by the distant staircase. Primera Leia, Ned Bach, trying to breathe. The unease had solidified into a tangible, choking horror. Rustle. Bare feet scraping against the dirty marble floor. I froze. My heart skipped a beat. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. I peered through the peephole again, my heart pounding against my ribs. No one, just the empty hallway. But I had heard it. Oh God, somebody call the police. A voice shouted from the third floor. Mr. Bomick from 3B, a cranky old widower. His voice trembled with pure fear. Did you hear that? Upstairs. Apartment 4B. I heard a woman scream. A horrible scream. Oh God, he's out! I stepped back, my hands clamped over my mouth. He heard it too. I wasn't going crazy. He's right outside. Mr. Bomick yelled again, closer this time. I saw him come out. He's going up. The 4th floor. Lock your door. He's insane. Heavy, chaotic footsteps ran up the stairs. Thump, thump. The sounds reverberated in my chest. Then a violent bang shook my door. Anya, open the door. Let me in. It was Mr. Bomick screaming. Right outside. He's here. In the hallway. Please. He saw me. I screamed, stumbling backward into a table. I stared at the door, shaking violently. Open it and maybe lead us both to death. Leave it closed and condemn him. I crawled to the peephole again, trembling. The hallway was empty. No Mr. Bomick. No Mr. Sharma. Only darkness and that distant yellow glow. But the banging continued, and Mr. Bomick's screams still pierced my ears, begging to get in. He's right behind me. Open the door. Then, I realized, the banging, the screaming, they weren't coming from outside. They were echoing inside my own head. I slid back into the living room, horrified. Was I losing my mind? The heat, the darkness, the crying, it was all breaking me. The door banging stopped. Silence returned, heavy and threatening. I curled into the darkest corner, trembling for what felt like an hour. I didn't dare move, just listening. Tea, rain. A drip from the ceiling plopping into the bucket I had set out. Then, a new sound. From apartment 4C, across the hall, Rohan, the young musician, usually so noisy, his sitar wailing all day. But since the blackout, he had been silent. Now I heard him, a moan. Painful, choked, like someone trying to cry, but couldn't. Help me! A weak sound floated through the hallway, then a loud crash. Glass shattering. A heavy thud, then silence. I couldn't take it anymore. This wasn't a hallucination. A tragedy was unfolding, right here. Mr. Sharma in 4B. Mr. Bomick in the hallway. And now Rohan in 4C. I was going to be next. Fear gave way to a cold despair. I had to know what I was facing. I had to see the truth. I stood up, my legs heavy as lead, crossing the dark living room, the smell of wilted jasmine suffocating me. I reached the door, inhaled deeply, and peered through the peephole one last time. The hallway remained dark. The emergency light seemed to have gone out. A shadow stood there. It was Mr. Sharma. From 4B he stood inches from my door. But he wasn't looking at me. His back trembled, hands clenched into fists. He was staring at Rohan's door, which was now completely silent. He wasn't a predator. He was prey, terrified. Then, in the deadly hallway silence, Mr. Sharma slowly turned. His face was in shadow, but his eyes were wide, stark white with sheer horror. His gaze pierced the fogged glass, locking onto mine. His lips moved. No sound came out, but I read every word, etched forever into my mind. It's not out here. Tears rolled down his cheeks. It's in there. It's in 4A. A cold draft brushed the back of my neck, carrying the stench of rotting jasmine. I realized then, it was all real. The crying baby. Sharma's whispers, Bomick's screams, Rohan's moans. They weren't echoes. They were a welcoming feast. I wanted to scream, but my throat was dry, voiceless. Slowly, I turned to face the darkness that reigned in my own apartment. This time, the whisper didn't come from the wall. It came from right behind me, a freezing breath on my skin. She? Thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more chills. Stay safe, and see you next time.
The 7-day Labor Day holiday should have been the loudest time in Hillcrest Dormitory. Instead, it was dead silent. You could almost smell the quiet mix of dust, old peeling paint, and that damp, musty scent of empty hallways. My name is Alex Warner, a third-year dance student, and for tonight, I am the only living soul left in this historic 4-story building, all because of an audition. An audition I had won. My victory was tucked away in a small suitcase, which I was now dragging across the tiled lobby. The wheels made a jarring, bone-cracking sound that echoed like it was coming from a tomb. I got back just before 10, right as the dorm manager, Miss Harper, was locking the heavy iron gate. Her eyes landed on me, not with surprise, but with a deep, weary fatigue. She didn't even bother asking why I hadn't gone home for the holiday. "Lock your room. 204, she muttered, her voice as dry as sandpaper. The keys in her hand clattered softly, then faded into the darkness as the gate slammed shut with a solid, final cap. And just like that, I was officially trapped inside with my victory. The second-floor hallway was pitch black. The dorm's motion sensor lights were notoriously faulty. They only turned on when they felt like it. I stomped my foot down hard. Bam! The fluorescent lights flickered to life, casting my shadow long and distorted along the wall. It chased me step by step before fading away behind me, as if some invisible entity was swallowing the light whole. My room, 204, was at the very end of the hall. My roommate, Lily Chun, had gone home a week ago. I could still hear her sobbing from the night before she left, her words echoing in my mind. "Alex, you won. But don't you dare think you can enjoy it in peace." I shook my head, trying to push the memory away. I was completely exhausted. The feeling of sweat, stage makeup, and the lingering tension of the performance still clung to my skin like a second layer. I desperately needed a shower. I tossed my bag onto the bed. Inside, my small crystal trophy gave a single, faint sparkle before lying still in the darkness. Grabbing a towel, I stepped back out into the hall. The public bathroom was damp, the air thick with the smell of cheap bleach mingling with steam. I picked the farthest shower stall and turned on the hot water. Steam rose quickly, blurring everything into a hazy fog. I closed my eyes, shampooing my hair, and that's when I heard it. Click, a tiny but distinct sound. The latch on the neighboring stall had just clicked open. My heart skipped a beat. I immediately turned off the water. The steam lingered, but the silence that followed was ice cold. "Who's there?" My voice cracked, barely a whisper. No answer, just the sound of water dripping from my showerhead. Drip, drop, like a countdown to disaster. I quickly wrapped a towel around myself and crept out of the stall. The sinks were empty. All the other stall doors were slightly ajar, exactly as they were when I first came in. It was probably just a rat. I tried to tell myself, even though I knew no rat could possibly reach a metal latch that high up. As I started heading back to my room, my eyes fell to the floor, and I froze. Tere. On the wet tile in front of the last stall, the one I thought the sound had come from was a perfectly dry patch of floor, clearly imprinted with the shape of two bare footprints. It was as if someone had been standing there, motionless, watching me the entire time, and had only just left. I bolted to room 204, slammed the door shut, locked it, and threw the deadbolt. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. I grabbed my phone and quickly texted my friend, Mia. Hey, I'm really scared. I'm all alone here. And I just heard something in the bathroom. I think someone's in there with me. 5 agonizing minutes later, she replied, calm down. It's probably just the old pipes. Or a rat. Old buildings are like that. Just go to sleep. You'll be fine in the morning. And try not to dwell on Lily. Her message hit me like a hammer. I glanced over at Lily's empty desk. My trophy sat there, cold and still. A wave of guilt churned in my stomach. What had I done? I only competed, right? I didn't mean to hurt her. I clenched my fists, shutting down the thought. I deserved this. I turned off the main light, leaving only the small, warm glow of my desk lamp on. I climbed into bed, trying to lose myself in some videos to fall asleep. Outside, the silence hung heavy and suffocating, like a burial shroud. I was just starting to doze off when another soft click echoed through the room. I jolted upright. White light from the hallway was streaming through the vent above my door. The motion sensor lights had flickered on again, but there were no footsteps. Then, lop, cop, lop, cop, cop. The sound was coming from directly above me, the 3rd floor. It sounded like high heels, but the rhythm was all wrong. Lop, cop, lop, cop. One step was heavy, and the next was light and dragging, like someone was limping or maybe a heel was broken. Cold sweat ran down my neck. No way. This building was supposed to be empty. Lop, cop. Lop, cop. Lop, cop. The sound paced back and forth, gnawing at every last one of my frayed nerves. Trembling, I reached out and switched on the main neon wall light. Bright, sterile white light flooded the room. The footsteps stopped immediately. Silence fell once more, but it felt even heavier now. I sat frozen, my eyes fixed on the ceiling, my heart hammering against my ribs. I didn't dare turn off the light again. I hugged my knees, clutching my phone tightly. I played games, scrolled through social media, did anything I could to stay awake. But exhaustion eventually won. Around 2 in the morning, I nodded off, sitting upright. My phone slipped from my hand and fell to my feet. The room light still blazing. I have no idea how long I was asleep. I woke to a bone-chilling cold. The room was pitch dark. The lights were off. I fumbled around for my phone. It was dead. The battery, which had been over 40%, was completely drained. And then I saw something that made my soul feel like it was leaving my body. The door, one ay hadlach, andlach, ay ha, lashdwa, now open. A black gap, about the width of a hand, revealed the dark hallway beyond. Thud, thud, thud. A terrifying explosion of sound erupted right outside, running. Desperate. Frantic running. The floorboards shook with each heavy step. The hallway sensor lights flickered on off, stuttering like a dying breath. The person wasn't just running past. They were pacing right outside my door, getting faster and heavier with each pass. I buried my face in my pillow, covering my ears, but the sound pierced right through, vibrating in my bones. Then, just as suddenly, everything stopped. The hallway lights stayed on. The silence stretched for 3 painful seconds. A long, black shadow fell through the gap in the door, casting itself across my floor. Someone was standing right outside. I held my breath, completely frozen. And then I heard it click. A very small sound coming from inside my room, from the corner where Lily's desk was. I didn't dare to look, but some invisible force compelled me. Slowly, I lifted my head, my eyes straining in the dim light filtering in from the hallway. On her desk, where only my trophy had sat before, now lay a bright red high-heeled dance shoe. The very shoe she had cherished and practiced in for a month leading up to the audition. The ones I had accidentally knocked to the floor a few days before the exam. During our argument, I'd seen the small crack on the heel back then, but it stayed silent. And now, the broken piece of that, he lay right beside it, like an unspoken accusation. A shiver ran down my spine. Instinct screamed at me to turn back towards my bed. Someone was sitting at the foot of it, a figure with their back turned to me, long black hair covering their face. They were bent over as if tending to their feet. I watched as they slowly lifted one foot, then the other, slipping them into the red shoes. They stood up motionless as a statue for a moment. Then they took a step toward me. Lop. The intact heel hit the floor with a solid sound. The second step, cap. The broken heel struck the floor harshly. Lap. Cap. They were in my room, and they were approaching me. Alex, a dry, weary whisper came from the shadow. I knew that voice. Your dance is beautiful. But do you know what it feels like to dance on a broken heel? The figure lifted its foot. Lop. Click. The hallway light went out, plunging the room into total darkness. I couldn't see a thing. I could only hear cop and feel a cold breath brush against the back of my neck. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe out there.
The monsoon in Varanasi is a time of divine fury. The day my mother, Priya, died, it felt less like rain and more like the sky itself was weeping onto the ghats of the Ganges. I was only 8, a small boy lost in a white mourning outfit, too young to understand the finality of it all. But one image from that day is burned into my memory forever. My grandmother, Lakshmi, she stood as still and silent as a 1,000-year-old stone statue, her eyes dry and fixed on the sacred fire consuming my mother's body. There were no tears, only the sorrowful hiss of the flames. That night, our small house, tucked away in a damp, narrow alley, felt different. The air grew thick, heavy with the haunting scent of jasmine, my mother's favorite flower, mixed with the pungent, musty smell of river mud. It was a scent that clung to everything, a constant, suffocating reminder of what we had lost. In the nights that followed, her presence became more than just a scent. It started with sounds, a faint rustling behind the walls, like ghostly fingers scratching at the plaster, a clatter from the kitchen, as if someone was searching for my mother's comb in the dark. My grandmother dismissed it as rats, but her eyes would dart past me, staring into the empty space behind my back. Her lips pressed into a severe, dark line. She began to chant constantly, her whispers of Sanskrit mantras and the steady clack of her prayer beads becoming the new, anxious heartbeat of our home. It wasn't a sound of peace. It was the sound of a fragile wall being built against something that was already seeping through the cracks. Fear became my constant companion, a cold presence that crept into my dreams. I always felt watched, as if a pair of cold, wet eyes were fixed on me from some hidden corner. I'd catch fleeting glimpses in my periphery, a white figure gliding down the hallway, a pale face with deep, dark eyes flickering in the old mirror at the end of the room. But every time I'd spin around, there was only darkness, and always that thick, sweet scent of jasmine hanging in the damp air. My grandfather, once a stern but present figure, retreated into a stony silence. He'd spend hours on the wicker chair on the veranda, his cloudy eyes staring out into the ceaseless rain, a hookah burning slowly between his cracked lips. One night, over the drone of my grandmother's chanting and the drumming of the downpour, I heard his voice, trembling and broken. "Priya, my daughter, I am sorry. Forgive us." The next morning, he was gone. We found him collapsed in that same chair, his eyes wide open to the gray sky, the hookah long extinguished beside him. The old doctor called it a stroke. My grandmother remained silent, but during the final rites, I saw her hands tremble. The scent of jasmine in the house grew stronger, almost suffocating, as if a massive, invisible garland had been hung in every room. I couldn't bear it anymore. I had to know what was happening. I secretly went to see Guru Sharma, an old monk who lived in a small temple by the river. His eyes were so deep, it felt like he could see straight through the veil separating our world from the next. I told him everything, the sounds, the ghostly apparitions, the suffocating scent of jasmine. He listened patiently, his expression unchanging. He wasn't surprised. Without a word, he took a simple red thread, blessed it in a quiet ritual, and tied it around my wrist. "Your mother's soul, Rohan, is bound here," he whispered, his voice grave. "A curse holds her. And you must be cautious, even of your own family." The red thread gave me a sliver of courage, a fragile sense of peace. But it didn't last. That very night, I woke to a bone-chilling cold that had nothing to do with the monsoon drafts. When I opened my eyes, a woman in a stark white sari was standing at the foot of my bed. Her face was shrouded in shadow, but I knew, with a certainty that defied all logic, that it was my mother. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine. I was frozen. A scream caught in my throat. She slowly began to raise a hand toward me, her fingers long, thin, and pale. Suddenly, the door to my room burst open. It was Lakshmi, my grandmother, her face a mask of fury. She brandished a wooden stick, shouting furious mantras into the darkness. In an instant, the white figure vanished like smoke. Lakshmi rushed to me, her eyes wild with a terrifying light. She gripped my shoulders, her sharp nails digging into my skin. "It's a demon," she hissed, her voice trembling with a strange mix of rage and panic. "It wants to take you. You must not tell anyone what you saw. Do you hear me?" Not a soul. Her raw panic confused me more than it scared me. I was no longer afraid of the apparition. I was curious. Why would she call my mother a demon? The next morning, I watched her from the shadows as she bustled around the kitchen. She was burning something in a small bronze censer, muttering ancient words I didn't understand as a pungent smoke filled the air. When I asked what she was doing, she jumped, startled, and quickly extinguished the embers. Her eyes, when they met mine, were cold and wary. "Just a cleansing ritual," she snapped. "Now go play somewhere else." But that night, my mother appeared again. This time, she was closer. I could see her face clearly yet was pale, and her eyes were filled with a profound suffering. She didn't reach for me. Instead, she just stood there, silently shaking her head, her lips moving without a sound. Then, Slowly, she raised her hand and pointed, not at me, but directly at Lakshmi's room. In that same instant, a blood-curdling scream of pure horror tore through the house. I scrambled out of bed and ran, my heart pounding. As I reached the hallway, Guru Sharma burst through the front door, his face pale and grim, as if he had been expecting this. Together, we forced open my grandmother's locked door. A strange, cloyingly sweet scent, different from the jasmine, hit us like a physical blow. Lakshmi was on the floor, motionless. Her eyes were rolled back in her head, her mouth frozen open in a silent scream. Beside her, the bronze censer was still smoldering, and on the wall, drawn in a dark red powder that looked like dried blood, were strange, unsettling symbols that radiated a chilling energy. Guru Sharma knelt and checked her pulse, then slowly shook his head. His voice was heavy with sorrow. "It's too late." She involved herself in a ritual she could not control. He pointed to the symbols on the wall. "This is a reversed Mrityunjaya mantra. It's not meant to liberate a soul, but to bind and destroy it." But the soul she was targeting was too strong, or perhaps too wronged. "Wronged," I whispered, trembling. "Your mother's soul did not return to harm you," Rohan essayed gently. "She came because she could not move on. Her death, it was not natural." I froze, the words echoing in the silent, incense-filled room. "Not natural, no." Guru Sharma sighed, the weight of the tragedy heavy in his voice. The person who caused her death, who used this dark magic to bind her soul to this house, was Lakshmi. The full, horrifying truth was revealed under the flickering light of an oil lamp. My grandmother, Lakshmi, had been consumed by a venomous jealousy. She hated my mother, a beautiful, gentle woman who had captured my grandfather's heart so completely. She believed Priya had used some kind of magic to bewitch him. When my mother became pregnant with me, that jealousy curdled into pure malice. On a stormy monsoon night, Lakshmi sought out a dark sorcerer and performed a curse, a vile ritual that caused my mother to die in childbirth, alone and in agony. But the ritual wasn't perfect. It failed to destroy Priya's spirit completely. Instead, it trapped her here, unable to find peace, unable to move on. My grandfather eventually discovered the truth, and the guilt, the torment, and the fear of what his wife had done literally broke his heart. Haunted by my mother's lingering presence, Lakshmi grew desperate. In a final, foolish act, she tried to use the same dark ritual again, hoping to banish Priya's soul for good. But the power she unleashed was too great, and it turned on her, sealing her own doom. Guru Sharma performed a grand overnight ceremony to finally free all three souls trapped in that house of sorrow. My grandfather, my grandmother, and my mother. As the first light of dawn broke over the Ganges, he told me they were finally at peace. He took me in, raising me as his disciple in the quiet sanctity of his temple. Years have passed. Life is now a peaceful rhythm of chants and incense. But every year, when the monsoon descends upon Varanasi and the river mist mingles with the damp air, I can still smell ether faint, lingering scent of jasmine. In my dreams, I still see my mother's sad face. Her hand outstretched, she no longer points, but it feels as if she still has something to say. Another truth, not yet washed clean by the sacred river. The red thread on my wrist, now faded with time, sometimes gives a gentle, phantom tug. It's a haunting reminder that the line between the living and the dead, between love and hate, is never as clear as we think, and that some nightmares don't end. They just sleep, waiting for another stormy night in Varanasi to awaken. Thank you for listening. If this story moved you, please consider liking and subscribing for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe. Safe.
The first thing that woke me wasn't knocking. It was a sound I still can't describe. Not exactly dragging, not quite scraping either. It was decay made audible, like something wet and heavy being pulled across the hallway carpet, leaving behind a cold, sticky trail that you could feel in your bones. This old apartment building in Chicago has always had its share of strange noises. The pipes moan like dying spirits. The floorboards creak under invisible feet, and the wind whispers through the cracks like voices from a forgotten time. But this sound, this was different. It felt alive. It felt like it knew I was listening. And then it stopped, precisely, unnervingly, right outside apartment 502, the one directly across from me, the one that's been empty for years. My name is Alex. I live in 501. I guess you could call me a modern hermit. I'm a freelance designer, which means my colleagues are pixels and my dinner is usually cold pizza. This floor, this apartment, is my sanctuary. The silence here is sacred. It's the only thing that numbs the memory of twisting metal, the smell of burning rubber, and the lifeless eyes of Lily, my sister. A car crash. A memory I've buried under layers of dust and denial, hoping it would just disappear. That rotten, dragging sound didn't come back that night. But the next morning, I saw them, a young couple moving into 502, Mark and Sarah. They didn't just look exhausted, they looked hunted. Sarah's pale face was hidden behind a little too much makeup, and her eyes never stayed still, darting around as if she was following something I couldn't see. Mark barely spoke, just offered a small, tired nod as we passed in the hall. Later, I ran into Sarah again. "We just need a quiet place," she told me, her voice barely a whisper. "Somewhere to start over." I nodded, trying to be a good neighbor, but my eyes lingered on the angry red scratches around her wrists, like she'd been desperately trying to peel something off her own skin. And there was a strange scent clinging to them, something I couldn't place, like dry grass mixed with gunpowder. It was unsettling. After they moved in, the silence I cherished was broken, not by footsteps or loud music, but by whispers, muffled arguments that bled through the thin walls. I'd hear Sarah crying late at night, a broken, desperate sound, and sometimes a slow, rhythmic tapping sound, like long fingernails gently knocking on glass. Then, one night, it came again. Not at my door, theirs. Knock, 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 knock. A rhythm so steady and unnatural, it felt ancient. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I crept to my door and peered through the peephole. The hallway light flickered, washing everything in this sickly yellow glow. And standing there, right outside 502, was a tall figure in a dark, hooded cloak. But it wasn't the cloak that made my breath catch in my throat. It was the hand. Long, bony fingers, dry, twisted, and bark-like, were tapping gently against the wood of their door. I stumbled backward, my heart hammering against my ribs. The knocking stopped. Then came that dragging sound again, wet, slow, fading away down the hall. The next morning, I saw Sarah by the elevators. She looked like a trapped bird, her eyes wide with terror. "Someone was knocking on your door last night," I said, my voice quiet. She froze. Her eyes went from scared to furious. No one was there. Don't lie," she hissed. "Sarah, I saw." "You saw nothing," she screamed, her voice echoing in the quiet hall. "It only comes when we think about it. Don't you understand? Just don't think about it." She slammed her door shut, leaving me standing there stunned. On the doorknob, I saw a streak of black, dried mud. A new smell began to spread through the hallway after that. It wasn't grass and gunpowder anymore. It was rot, a thick, cloying smell of damp earth, like a freshly dug grave. And when I passed their door later that day, I saw it. A black symbol painted across the wood. It was a chaotic mess of swirling, tangled lines that formed a kind of maze. It didn't feel like art. It felt like a warning. That night, the knocking came again. But this time, it was on my door. Knock, 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 knock. The same rhythm, the same chilling patience. I crept closer, my feet like lead, and forced myself to look through the peephole. It was there. The cloak, the hood, those withered, branch-like hands hanging loose at its sides. It wasn't knocking anymore. It was just listening. Then, slowly, so slowly, the hood turned, facing me directly. There was no face inside, just an abyss of pure darkness. But I knew, with absolute certainty, that it was staring straight back at me. I fell to the floor, my breath frozen in my lungs. When I finally dared to look again, it was gone. After that night, everything changed. My apartment, my sanctuary, became a prison. It was always freezing cold, no matter how high I turned the heat. Metal objects, doorknobs, my keys, even my forks, glistened with a thin, impossible layer of frost. At night, I started hearing breathing, a wet, heavy sound, right outside my door. And when I slept, I dreamed I was driving again. The same road, the same storm, only this time it wasn't a deer caught in my headlights. It was that tall, cloaked figure with those branch-like hands reaching out for me. Then came the night of the storm, a real storm this time. Thunder shook the entire building. Lightning tore open the sky, illuminating my room in blinding flashes. And in one of those flashes, I saw it, pressed flat against my window, 5 floors up. It wasn't human anymore. Its skin was rough and reptilian. Its limbs were far too long, and its body was stretched thin like smoke. It turned its head, and where a face should have been, there was only a hollow void. Endless, black, and hungry. I screamed. Another flash of lightning, and it was gone. But I heard a horrible screech of metal from across the hall, from the direction of 502. That symbol had kept it out before, but this thing, it could climb. I couldn't take it anymore. At dawn, I marched across the hall to confront them. The door to 502 was ajar. The stench that hit me was suffocating, thick, sweet, and rotten. "Mark? Sarah?" I called out, pushing the door open. Inside, everything was soaked. The furniture, the walls, even the ceiling dripped with a foul, black liquid. Black mud streaked the floor in grotesque patterns. And on the walls, surrounding that same chaotic symbol, were dozens, maybe hundreds of others, all scrawled in what looked like dried blood. Sarah sat in the corner, her knees pulled to her chest, her eyes completely empty. Mark was muttering to himself, carving frantically into the wall with a knife. "They found us," he whispered, not even looking at me. "We ran, but it follows the scent. It follows fear." "What is it?" I asked, my voice trembling. Sarah finally lifted her head, tears streaking through the grime on her face. "It has no name," she said, her voice hollow. "The old man downstairs told us. It lives in painful memories. It feeds on grief. It fills your mind with voices, with illusions, anything to make you scared. Fear makes the meal richer." She looked at me with a chilling, hollow pity. "It's full of us now, and it smelled you." I ran. I sprinted back to my apartment, slammed the door, and pushed everything I could, my couch, my desk, my bookshelf, against it. That's when I finally understood. The symbol wasn't protection. It was a bargain. A desperate message to the creature: eat our pain, but spare our flesh. But when they ran out of pain, or maybe broke the deal, it needed new prey. And I was perfect. I was a banquet of guilt. A man haunted by his sister's death, by the nagging thought that maybe it really was my fault. That night, the entire building felt like it was holding its breath, trembling with a profound silence. And then it came. Not a knock, not a scratch. A voice. Lily's voice. But not from outside. It was right beside my ear. "Alex," it whispered, a sweet, chilling echo of my sister. "I'm so cold. Why did you leave me on that road?" I clutched my head, trying to block it out. "Stop it," I begged. "You were driving," it said sweetly, almost playfully. "You lived. Why you? Did you turn the wheel on purpose?" "No!" I screamed into the empty room. From the darkest corner, a shadow began to rise. It didn't need to open the door. My own fear had already invited it in. It was born from me. Dry, cracking branches reached out from the darkness, stretching toward me, breathing cold air and the scent of grave soil. I shut my eyes tight, trying to hold on to the last image I had of Lily's smile before the crash. But all I saw was darkness, and the brittle sound of breaking branches creeping closer, wrapping around me, draining every last drop of pain and guilt I had left. When morning came, everything was normal again. The smell was gone. The mud was gone. Apartment 502 across the hall stood empty, as if no one had ever lived there at all. And in my own apartment, everything looked exactly the same, except for me. I felt light, peaceful. The grief, the guilt that had been my constant companion for years. It was gone, completely and utterly gone. For the first time in so long, I could actually breathe. Then I noticed it. Under my fingernail, a faint, tiny streak of black mud, and from deep within my mind, a voice, rough, ancient, and chillingly familiar, whispered one simple question. Who's next?